grabbing Tang Mantong's waistband, making him shout, "Mom, what are you doing?" "I'm 25. Let go. Are you going to hand it over, or do I have to take it?" Grandma Tang wouldn't let go and tugged at his waistband. "Mom, I really don't have any more." Tang Mantong's voice grew softer until he reluctantly said, "Mom, turn around." Grandma Tang smugly huffed, turned around, and started counting 1, 2, 3.
Done.
As soon as she finished counting, she turned back. Tang Mantong's hand was still in his pants, his face flushed with shame. He couldn't scold her, so he had to obediently pull out the money from his pocket, roll it into a tube, and tie it with a rubber band. Grandma Tang snatched it, counted it, and found it was exactly 200 yuan. "Still trying to play tricks in front of me? I know exactly what you're up to." Grandma Tang was very pleased, leaving with 720 yuan, and she didn't forget to shout, "Why are you still lying in bed? Get up and stack the firewood in the yard."
Got it. Tang Mantong replied irritably.
Once his mother left, he quietly closed the door and pulled out 2 rolls of money from under his socks, totaling 200 yuan. "Good thing I was prepared." Tang Mantong searched his room for a while and finally found a good hiding spot, a wall hole under the bed. He still had a few dozen yuan left for pocket money. He would keep this 200 yuan as capital and rest at home for a few days before heading out again. Money was easy to make outside. This time, he planned to go to Pingcheng, which is close to Xiongjiang, where fresh goods were abundant. He needed to stock up and make some money before leaving. Tang Monsong hid the money and took out a few electronic watches, 10 packs of Warrior cigarettes, a red scarf, a box of cookies, and a bag of peach crisps from his bulging bag before heading out. Warrior cigarettes cost 1.3 yuan a pack and are of average quality. His older brother loves to smoke them, while the expensive peony Chinese brand he bought a year ago has gone moldy without being touched. "Uncle, what good stuff did you bring?" Tang Jiojin shouted the loudest, running over and jumping into his arms. Tang Monsong laughed and asked, "Do you want some cookies?" "Yes." Tang Jiojin was thrilled. Recently, her meals have been good, and her little face is chubby and adorable when she smiles. Tang Monsong pinched her cheeks and complained, "You've gained some weight. What have you been eating?" He had only been away for 2 or 3 months, yet his niece had grown so plump. "Is the food at home that good?" "I've been eating meat, chicken cake, peach crisps, meat buns, and milk candy. Second sister bought them." Tang Jiojin proudly counted on her little fingers one by one. "Where did Nian Nian get the money?" Tang Monsong was surprised, recalling the small car he took back. It seemed Nian Nian had made quite a bit of progress recently. Second sister earned it, 98 yuan. The little girl held up her thumb and index finger, then added another finger, indicating that her sister made a lot of money. Tang Monsong almost choked on his own saliva. "Nian Nian earns that much? Is it true?" He quickly set down Jiojin, stuffed the cake into her arms, and rushed out to ask his brother and sister-in-law. A child like Jiojin couldn't explain it clearly. Tang Monsong found his brother, Tang Manjin, chopping firewood in the yard, while Su Jinfeng was cooking in the kitchen. Tang Lu Jin was washing clothes. The Tang family was hardworking, with everyone busy except for Tang Nian Nian and Tang Monsong, who were both a bit lazy. Tang Nian Nian had brought a small stool to sit under the eaves, cracking sunflower seeds while chatting with Tang Lu Jin about school. "Nian Nian, you earn 98 yuan a month?" Tang Monsong also sat down beside her, grabbing half of her sunflower seeds. "Yeah." Tang Nian Nian took back her seeds, not wanting to get up to grab more from inside. "What job do you have?" Tang Monsong was now very curious and stopped fighting her for the seeds. "I'm a special talent." "Uncle, is this an electronic watch?" Tang Nian Nian noticed the watch in his hand and put one on. Electronic watches appeared in the 1950s and became popular in the 1980s. "I'll set the time for you." As soon as Tang Monsong finished speaking, he saw his niece easily adjust the time, her mouth dropping open in surprise. His niece has always been smart and learns quickly. Aside from being lazy, she has no faults. Earning 98 yuan is quite normal for her. Tang Nian Nian admired the watch on her wrist. Although it was simple in style, it looked nice. Department stores sold them, but they were expensive, with the cheapest costing around 18 yuan. Uncle, how much did you pay for this? Tang Nian figured it was probably a knockoff and shouldn't be too expensive. She knew many wealthy people made their fortunes from knockoffs. Thinking of Tang Montsong's tragic fate in her past life sent a chill down her spine. If it weren't for Lu Jinglan and others secretly plotting against him, Tang Montsong could have also become wealthy. It was really cheap, only 1.8 yuan wholesale. Tang Montsong didn't hide it. He and Tang Nian had a good relationship since childhood. He was 9 years older than her and they played together growing up, so they were closer than some of his other nieces and nephews. Do you want to sell them in the city?
Tang Nian Frau Wen.
She remembered that Tang Montsong got into trouble selling things in the county and ended up in labor reform, where he was killed in a fight. The family never even saw his body. In this life, with her around, Tang Montsong would be fine, but she needed to be cautious. I'm not going to the county. I'm going to sell them in Hu City, where there are more rich people. Tang Montsong had a plan. He had brought over 200 electronic watches, and he doubted they could sell in Zhucheng, but Hu City would definitely work. Tang Nian didn't ask more. Her uncle was bold and quick-witted. If it weren't for Lu Jinglan's deliberate schemes, he wouldn't get into trouble. Now that Lu Jinglan was in a tough spot herself, if she kept a close watch, her uncle would be fine. Tang Montsong began distributing gifts, 10 packs of warrior cigarettes for his brother, a red scarf for his sister-in-law, and electronic watches for his nieces and nephews. He would give his second brother's family their gifts when they came to the city. Where's Wu Jin? Tang Montsong finally noticed something was off. Tang Wu Jin hadn't shown up. Although he didn't like his not-so-bright niece, he hadn't forgotten her gift. Tang Monjin's expression changed, and Su Jinfeng's eyes turned red. She had secretly gone to the farm a few days ago and saw her eldest daughter, who had aged terribly in just a few days, dark, thin, and dirty. She heard from the farm workers that Tang Wu Jin was well-fed and taken care of by the little glasses-wearing boy, while she herself was eating only scraps and doing heavy labor. If this continued, her health would surely decline. Su Jinfeng felt heartbroken but didn't dare go against her mother-in-law's wishes. She could only watch from a distance, wiping her tears as she returned home. Old Lady Tang's face darkened as she coldly said, "This ungrateful child is no longer a Tang family member. Don't mention her again." She briefly explained what had happened, including the matter of Qi Guohua breaking off the engagement. Tang Montsong's expression changed from surprise to anger, and finally to fury. Qi family has some nerve, thinking they can bully the Tang family when I'm not home. Taking advantage of his absence to bully his family, how shameless. Tang Montsong's face darkened as he grabbed the thickest piece of firewood from the pile and stormed out. "Montsong, come back." Old Lady Tang chased after him. The Qi family was now hated by everyone. Qi Guohua had fallen into a cesspit and broken his leg, not even daring to show his face. There was no need to cause more trouble. But Tang Montsong acted as if he didn't hear her and quickly reached the Qi family's door, stopped by the strong stench. What the heck? Has the Qi family turned into a cesspit? Seeing the pile of dog waste at the Qi family's entrance, Tang Montsong didn't want to use the front door and climbed over the wall instead. The Qi family was having dinner, still eating boiled vegetables and steamed pickled vegetables, with no oil in sight, and a watery sweet potato porridge that reflected their shadows. The atmosphere in the Qi family was heavy, with no one speaking, only the sound of slurping porridge. Yang Hongling didn't come out. She was lying in bed. She couldn't swallow such bland food, and took the chance to sneak back to the youth point to eat with Lu Jinglan while the Qi family was out working. It was Lu Jinglan who insisted she marry that useless Qi Guohua, and she needed to make her cousin pay for this loss. In just a few days, Qi Guohua had lost so much weight he looked like a ghost. Ever since he mysteriously fell into the cesspit and broke his leg, he had become this way. He must take revenge. Shen Xiao and Tang Nian were waiting for him.
Bang!
The slightly open door was kicked open with a loud bang, startling the Qi family, who all turned to look at the entrance. Seeing the fierce-looking Tang Montsong, the Qi family was terrified. This troublemaker was not to be messed with. While I'm away, you monkeys dare to act like kings. Bullying my family as if I'm dead? I'm out, not gone. Tang Monsong flipped the dining table, spilling the bland food everywhere, and grabbed Chiguohua, punching and kicking him. Chiguohua, even with his injured legs, was no match for Tang Mantong. Now, with his weakened body, he couldn't fight back at all, and soon ended up with a bruised face. Chi's mother could only cry, while Chi's father tried to intervene but ended up getting hit too. Chi Guochun had already run to a corner to hide. The commotion at the Chi family home attracted villagers who were curious. Recently, the Chi family's door had been quiet, as villagers preferred to take a longer route to avoid bad luck. Man Tong is back. With his temper, he will definitely take action. The Chi family brought this on themselves. No wonder they've been living off others for generations. The Chi family is both foolish and malicious, unable to enjoy the benefits that come their way. The villagers spoke with disdain, looking down on the Chi family, and no one bothered to break up the fight. They just watched the spectacle. Tang Mantong only targeted Chi Guohua, and the leg that had just started to heal was broken again. Chi Guohua lay on the ground like a dead body, filled with hatred. Useless trash. Tang Mantong snorted and spat at Chi Guohua, thinking he was not worthy of his niece. He shot a cold glance at Chi's parents and walked away, easily climbing over the courtyard wall. The villagers didn't linger to watch. The fight was over, and there was nothing left to see. But they knew the Chi family had no chance of recovery. They had once hoped Chi Guohua would get promoted, but now he was useless, even worse than Tang Laolu. Such a family was clearly at its end, and there was no need to make connections. The Chi family was in disarray, with water and broken pottery scattered everywhere. Chi Guohua lay on the ground, staring blankly, as if he had lost his mind. Chi's mother cried mournfully, feeling they could no longer live like this. Chi's father sat on the ground with a dark expression, losing faith in the future for the first time. Heaven really seemed to want to destroy the Chi family. Dad, take me to the city tomorrow. Chi Guohua suddenly spoke, having made up his mind. A man must be ruthless. He hoped his sister wouldn't blame him for being heartless. Why go to the city? Chi's father asked, looking sorrowful, as the family had no money left. Let's talk inside. Chi Guohua glanced at his sobbing sister in the corner and asked his father to help him up. He limped into the house, dragging his injured leg. I found a husband for Guochun, Director He Jisheng from the Tail Cutting Society. If Guochun marries him, our family won't have to fear the Tang family anymore. Chi Guohua hadn't wanted to do this, but now that he was at a dead end, he had to sacrifice his sister. He had met He Jisheng once and knew his peculiar interests, and he was well aware of what would happen to his sister if she married him. But he had no other choice. Guochun's reputation was already ruined. Marrying He Jisheng was better than going to the mountains, as it could secure a bright future for their family. Chi's father looked delighted. You know the director of the Tail Cutting Society. Why didn't you say so earlier? Can he marry Guochun? I'll find a way. Chi Guohua wasn't sure, but this was the only path left. He would do everything he could to make this marriage happen. All right, we'll go to the city tomorrow. It's a pity we have no money. Otherwise, we could take you to the hospital to fix your leg. Chi's father sighed, feeling sad that his son was now useless. Sell this watch. Chi Guohua pulled out a watch from his pocket, one that belonged to Yang Hongling, which he had taken from the box. Chi's father immediately looked happy. Heaven hadn't abandoned the Chi family. The next day, before dawn, Chi's father dragged a cart toward the county town. Tang Mantong didn't go to work and wandered around the village, boasting about the latest news. Many young villagers gathered around him, eager to hear stories from the outside world, as they had never left home or ridden a train. What's a train? Now, we have airplanes. Do you know what an airplane is? I know. It's a metal bird that flies in the sky. Back then, the little devils used it to drop bombs. My relatives in the city all died in the explosion, leaving only a 3-year-old child. So sad. Mentioning the little devils darkened everyone's mood. Zhucheng had once been invaded by the little devils and many innocent people were killed. Many strong young men were taken as laborers, with few returning alive. In the neighboring town of Lipu, there had been a massacre, and these bloody memories were a pain in their hearts. Those little devils had fighter planes. I'm talking about airplanes, big ones that can carry hundreds of people. It takes just an hour to fly from our Tang village to Yangcheng. Tang Mantong changed the subject, and the atmosphere lightened again. The young villagers looked at him with admiration, wishing to see the world, but they lacked his courage. "Mantong, have you ever been on a plane?" a curious ant asked. Tang Mantong's smile faded a bit as he stammered, "Not yet, but I will definitely get to ride one in the future." "Mantong, your sister is doing well now, earning 98 yuan a month. How much have you made these past 2 months?" someone else asked. "Not much. Nian Nian has always been smart." Tang Mantong smiled proudly. "When are you going to find a partner?" "In a year, you'll be 26, and many people your age in the village already have 3 kids. Second aunt just went to find a matchmaker for you. She must be looking for a partner." Everyone chimed in, and the noise made Tang Mantong's ears hurt. He found an excuse to leave, stepping away a bit and looking back at the busy villagers, feeling a bit emotional. He, Tang Mantong, would not stay in the countryside for his whole life. He wanted to leave Tang village and head to the big city. His future children would be city dwellers from birth, starting off ahead of others. Tang Lujin stayed home for 2 days before returning to school. Tang Nian Nian packed her a bag of rice, a lunchbox of rabbit meat, a large bag of sweet potato chips, and some egg cakes and cash. "Don't skimp on food, and don't go to the construction site."
Tang Nian won nở con ly.
"I know, second sister. I won't go to the construction site," Tang Lujin replied, puzzled about why her sister kept mentioning it, but she didn't ask further since she wouldn't go anyway. She had no time for that. As for her eldest sister, Tang Lujin didn't visit her at the farm, as their relationship had never been close. When they were young, Tang Lujin often spoke ill of their second sister, which led to their arguments. Later, after being scolded by their grandfather, Tang Lujin learned some lessons and understood their grandparents better after going to school in the city. Their second sister had always lived a life of luxury, which seemed extravagant to them, but for her, it was a struggle. Moreover, their family owed a debt of gratitude to their second sister's parents, so treating her well was only right. Tang Lujin had even tried to persuade Tang Lujin, but it didn't work. After growing up, Tang Lujin became even more extreme, constantly arguing with their second sister, and later became infatuated with He Guiqing, even stealing cookies from her and Jiu Jin to curry favor with the little glasses. Since then, Tang Lujin had seen through her eldest sister's character and was not surprised by the current situation. "Second sister, the 2 books I have left, my teacher said a friend has them. I'll bring them back next time," Tang Lujin said. "Okay, study hard," Tang Nian Nian replied. Tang Nian Nian caught a wild rabbit and a wild chicken from the cage, tied them with a rope, and put them in a bag for Tang Lujin to take to her teacher. This teacher seemed quite nice. Tang Mantong rode his bike to take his niece to school. By the time he returned, it was already afternoon, and his stomach was growling. Tang Nian Nian had prepared a large plate of stir-fried vegetables and 3 fried eggs for him. "Uncle, I have a job that suits you." While Tang Mantong was eating, Tang Nian Nian mentioned the sock factory. Tang Mantong almost choked and quickly drank some water. He asked carefully and learned that his niece had acquired 30 sock machines, which produced socks twice as fast as regular machines. His mouth dropped open in shock. "When did you learn to fix sock machines?" Tang Mantong felt like he was dreaming. During the new year, she didn't know anything. After a short trip outside, how did this girl suddenly become so knowledgeable? Could breaking off the engagement stimulate brain development? "Old Zhang taught me." Tang Nian Nian attributed her knowledge to Old Zhang. Her uncle, who grew up with her, knew her well. If she said it was a classmate, he definitely wouldn't believe it. Which Old Zhang? Tang Mantong was even more confused. There were only 7 or 8 families with different surnames in the village, and none were named Zhang. "The one from the mountain, he's very skilled." Tang Nian Nian pointed to the back mountain. Tang Montong's expression changed slightly, and he lowered his voice to scold. Are you out of your mind? You dare to know someone from there? Then he asked, did anyone see you go there?
No one saw me, don't worry.
I'm more careful than you. Tang Nian rolled her eyes, thinking at least she was now a formal worker, while her uncle was still a village slacker. Tang Mantong finally relaxed and couldn't help but ruffle her hair, making it messy like a lion's mane, which pleased him. You've really grown up, huh? You completed such a big task quietly. All right, leave the rest to your uncle, and I'll make sure it's all done. Tang Mantong was very pleased. He was right. Nian was the smartest in the family. Third uncle said the paperwork will be done soon. Tang Nian shot him a glare, took a mirror to fix her hair, annoyed that her uncle always messed it up. If he weren't her uncle who she had played with since childhood, she would have been furious. Your third uncle can't handle this. He's too straightforward. There are many twists and turns in running a factory. The higher-ups always say it's almost done, but they haven't done anything. Next time you ask, it'll be the same story.
Tang Mantong spoke sarcastically.
He had thought about starting a factory 2 years ago and even sought advice from other villages, realizing it wasn't easy. It wasn't just about wanting to start one. In short, you had to satisfy the higher-ups to get the green light. If any leader in the process was unhappy, it would immediately turn into a red light, and you could forget about getting it done. Tang Mantong shared some tips about getting things done nowadays, emphasizing 2 key words: human connections. You have to consider all aspects. Being smooth and adaptable means taking care of every leader's face, and even the small clerks' faces. They can be tricky. There's a lot to learn here, and your third uncle can't handle it. Tang Nian felt confused. She didn't expect starting a factory would be so complicated. She used to think state-owned factories were troublesome, but compared to this, her previous work environment was much better. Moreover, in her time, efficiency was prioritized. Government workers served the people and could usually get things done in a day without making people return. Uncle, do you know any cadres from the commune? Tang Nian asked curiously. I don't know any. Tang Mantong replied bluntly. He was out every day and didn't know anyone. Before Tang Nian could roll her eyes, he quickly added, I can get to know them now. Just leave this to me, and I'll guarantee it'll be done in half a month. Tell third uncle. Tang Nian didn't want to worry about it. She was only responsible for the technical side and didn't want to deal with these social connections. She found dealing with social connections the most annoying. She could learn it, but she didn't want to. Tang Mantong, being impatient, finished a big plate of fried rice cakes, wiped his mouth, and ran off to find the team leader. He didn't know what he said to the team leader, but the next day he rode his bike to the commune with 2 packs of cigarettes, 1 pack of Hong Shuangxi and 1 pack of Mutin. Hong Shuangxi cost 2 cents and 6 per pack, while Mutin cost 5 cents. The staff would take Hong Shuangxi, and the leaders would take Mutin. Tang Mantong returned in the afternoon, full of joy. As soon as he got back, he went to talk to the team leader, and they both laughed heartily before coming to find Tang Nian. Nian, the leader wants to see our 30 sock machines and even wants to operate them. Tang Nian had just woken up from her nap, yawned, and lazily said, I'll bring the machines over tomorrow and have second aunt resign. Okay, do you think the team cafeteria can be used as a factory? The team leader asked for her opinion. The cafeteria was the only empty place in the village, a big brick building built for communal dining, which was now unused. Sure, just clean up the factory space and get the electricity set up. I'll move the sock machines tomorrow.
Tang Nian not that.
I'll arrange for people to start working on it right now. The excited team leader, as if energized, hurried off to find people to clean the cafeteria and call an electrician. Tang Village was about to step into a glorious future. He believed he would be one of the key figures in this glorious history. Thinking of this, he walked faster, eventually breaking into a run, leaving Tang Mantong behind. The team leader ran to the village committee and turned on the loudspeaker. Hey, hey, hey. After testing the sound a few times, his deep voice echoed throughout the village. The villagers working in the field straightened up and looked toward the loudspeaker hanging from the big camphor tree at the village entrance. What big news is it this time? Why does the team leader always say, hey, hey, hey?
Who is he talking to?
Sure. Let's listen to what the team leader has to say. The villagers stopped working and focused on the loudspeaker.
Tang Bai Fu, Tang Sanjin, Tang Mantian, Tang Siagu, Tang Ziniun.
The team leader called out the names of 10 strong men, asking them to rush to the cafeteria. Bring brooms, rags, and basins. Hurry up. After the team leader finished giving orders, he turned off the loudspeaker and went to the cafeteria to wait. The village was in an uproar. Are we going to have communal dining again? That can't happen. Life is much better now. Let's go to the cafeteria and see what's going on. The worried villagers, unable to focus on their work, ran to the cafeteria to ask the team leader what was happening. Who the heck is spreading rumors? Are they trying to go for farm reform? The team leader's face darkened at the mention of communal dining. After scolding them, he explained about starting the factory. Nian Nian has worked hard for our Tang village. She borrowed some money from the factory, and Mantong also contributed some money to get 30 sock machines for us to start a sock factory. Are we going to start a factory in our village? Captain, really? Where would Nian girl get so much money? One sock machine costs 138 yuan. How much for 30? Are you deaf? Didn't the captain say that Nian girl borrowed money from the factory and Mantong also contributed? Oh my, thank goodness. Nian girl and Mantong truly have kind hearts. The villagers, overjoyed, clasped their hands together, thanking the Buddha and Uncle Tang Nian Nian. From now on, they wouldn't have to envy Zhou village for their meat. Let me be clear, Nian girl won't need our team to pay for these 30 sock machines, but once the factory is up and running, half of the profits will go to the team, and the other half to Nian girl. She owes a lot of money and needs to repay her debts. The captain initially wanted to discuss this after the factory was established, but since everyone was gathered, it was better to address it now. Anyone with ill intentions would not be allowed to work in the factory. That's fair. Nian girl has put in so much money, she deserves half. Exactly, the team gets to earn half for nothing. Most people agreed that it was reasonable. Nian girl was investing money and effort, and it was only right for her to receive half of the profits. However, a small group had different opinions. Isn't this just making us work for free for Tang Nian Nian? How is she any different from a capitalist? Exactly, Tang Nian Nian is taking the bourgeois route. The captain's face darkened. He counted and noted 11 households. Some had good relations with the Qi family, while others had always been at odds with the Tang family. He remembered these 11 households. In the future, when hiring for the sock factory, he wouldn't recruit anyone from these families, even if it meant bringing in workers from outside the village. If you don't want to work for free, then don't come to the sock factory. I can't bear the blame for exploiting you, the captain said with a cold smile, scanning the crowd and raising his voice. Everyone can speak their mind now. It's fine to say it now, but once the factory is running, if anyone tries to sabotage it or spread rumors that harm our village's livelihood, don't blame me, Tang Jiangman Shan, for being ruthless. He said the last part through clenched teeth, his cold aura palpable. The 11 households lowered their heads, feeling guilty. Anyone who dares to cut off my livelihood, I'll smash your pots. Those who aren't united should be driven out. They don't deserve to be Tang villagers. Exactly. No matter the surname, anyone who isn't united should be kicked out. The villagers expressed their strong stance. Once the sock factory was established, Tang villagers would earn money and afford meat. The captain and Nian girl were doing good deeds for the benefit of the whole team. Anyone who dared to disrupt that was heartless and unworthy of being a Tang villager. The crowd grew more agitated, and the 11 households felt increasingly uncomfortable, eventually leaving in shame. The captain was pleased. Tang villagers were usually united, and aside from those few troublemakers, they were not a concern. With many hands, the dining hall was cleaned in less than an hour, spotless and shining. The captain hurried to find the electrician, busy and full of energy. That day, the air in Tang village was vibrant, and everyone wore joyful smiles, feeling more spirited. Life finally had hope. They no longer had to worry about working hard all year without any surplus. Tang Nian, meanwhile, was quite relaxed. The Hongxing factory and Tianjin factory had little work at the moment, and with Bai Sui and Jiu Jin keeping an eye on the Qi family and the youth station, things were relatively calm. As for the Qi family, she could easily deal with them, but it would attract too much attention, and she didn't want Qi Guohua to die too easily. This scoundrel was still in her grasp, unable to pull any tricks. Given the current situation, the Qi family wouldn't last long. Tang Nian's plan was to let the Qi family members die one by one, leaving only Qi Guohua in despair. This was the poetic and tragic way she designed for Qi Guohua's demise. With nothing to do, Tang Nian strolled leisurely around the village. While wandering, she ended up at the back mountain. She thought for a moment and took out 20 fresh Qingming pastries from her space, still warm. 10 sweet and 10 savory. She would take them to the cattle shed. Avoiding the children playing on the hillside, she took the shortest route, climbing straight up. Zhang Lao and Deng Chongqing were both there, looking rosy and full of spirit. Nian girl. The two elders smiled broadly upon seeing Tang Nian. Qingming pastries. Tang Nian handed over the basket, lifting the cloth to reveal the steaming pastries. The round ones are sweet, and the dumpling-shaped ones are savory. You southern folks really pay attention to food. It looks so beautiful. Deng Chongqing took a snowball pastry. He preferred the northern sweet flavor. Delicious. This red bean paste is authentic. Deng Chongqing praised it, devouring 3 snowballs and 1 savory pastry before stopping, saying both sweet and savory were good, but he still loved the sweet ones more. Zhang Lao was from Zhejiang province and had a taste for savory pastries. He only ate 1 snowball before stopping. Nian girl, I'm going back to the city this summer. Deng Chongqing shared good news. He had just received a letter from an old comrade and expected to return in July or August. Congratulations. What about Zhang Lao? Tang Nian was a bit surprised. She remembered Deng Chongqing returned in November in her past life, but this time it was earlier. Could Zhang Lao also be returning early? I'm not sure yet, Zhang Lao smiled. His smile was light and carefree, unlike the bitter smile he used to have. He had become much more open-minded. Old Zhang will be soon too. Once I return, I'll find a way, at most by next year. Deng Chongqing was confident. Policies had loosened up, and the country wanted to develop technology and the economy. A talent like old Zhang couldn't be wasted herding cattle in the mountains. I think by next spring it should be about right. I've calculated it for you. Tang Nian said seriously. In her past life, Zhang Lao returned in spring, and this time would only be earlier. The two elders smiled, recalling the first time Nian girl spoke those words when they were nearly starving, thanks to her. We'll take Nian girl's good fortune. Zhang Lao laughed. No need to thank me. Just remember to repay my favor when you return to the city. I've kept track of it. Tang Nian said earnestly, her words heartfelt. Yes, we must repay Nian girl's favor. Exactly. We can't owe favors. The two elders laughed even more joyfully, still thinking that Tang Nian was using a practical tone to hide her kindness, deliberately saying these unflattering things just to make them feel justified in accepting help. What a kind-hearted girl. Tang Nian felt relieved. As long as she remembered the favor, it was enough. She turned and headed down the mountain. This time she took the normal path and met Jiu Jin and the others at the foot of the mountain, along with Bai Sui and a few dogs, all playing together happily. Second sister. Jiu Jin was the first to see her and shouted loudly. Soon, the other kids joined in, each one more affectionate than the last. Woof. Master. The dogs also barked loudly, showing their loyalty. Tang Nian's mood instantly brightened. Everything around her was what she loved, making her feel joyful. She took out some milk candies, giving one to each child, and then pulled out some dog food, giving each dog a pile to eat away from the kids so they wouldn't see. Actually, it didn't matter if they saw. Kids didn't recognize dog food and weren't interested in what dogs ate. Tang Nian just didn't want to explain. The dogs ate noisily, their tails wagging nonstop. Bai Sui didn't eat. It found the dog food and canned food unappetizing. Woof. My partner has something to report. A shiny black dog ran over from a distance, followed by a skinny little flower dog. As they got closer, Tang Nian noticed the flower dog looked pitifully thin. If it were fattened up, it would be a stunning dog. This black dog had good taste. The flower dog snuggled close to the black dog, looking adorable, while Bai Sui acted as a translator and relayed the message. Woof. My partner heard from a friend in the city that shameless man from the Qi family is looking for the fierce and ugly He Jisheng. The black dog barked and waved its paw, especially furious when mentioning He Jisheng. He Jisheng liked eating dog meat and often abused cats and dogs. The black dog's mother-in-law, which is the flower dog's real mother, was killed by He Jisheng, and the flower dog almost suffered the same fate, but managed to escape. Tang Nian became interested. Qi Guohua actually knew He Jisheng? What does he want with He Jisheng? Woof. He said he wants to give his sister to the ugly guy. After delivering the report, the black dog ran off to enjoy its meal, taking its partner along. Tang Nian specially opened 2 cans as a reward for the couple. The black dog didn't eat any. It let its partner have it all, even though it was drooling. You have quite the gentlemanly behavior. Here's something for you. Tang Nian found it amusing. This black dog was already better than many men. She took out another can and fed it to the black dog. She instructed, "You and your partner keep an eye on that ugly guy's family and report back if anything happens." Woof. Understood. The black dog responded loudly. It used a bit of dog food to bribe a few dogs in the county town so they would pass on any news. It then asked Bai Sui if it could bring these little brothers to meet the master in the future. Woof. Depends on their performance. Bai Sui's dog face showed a mysterious expression. It had been reading books in the space recently, learning about how to manage subordinates, but unfortunately, it didn't know many characters and couldn't understand much. However, it still learned a little. Kings were always unpredictable and mysterious. It needed to learn from that. Second sister, Lu Jinglan and the new educated youth are on the grass slope. Jiao Jin ran over to report, saying a little friend had just told her. Where? Tang Nian became curious. Didn't Lu Jinglan like Zhou Siren? Why was there a new target? She remembered Zhou Siren was supposed to come to Tang Village in the fall. This new educated youth couldn't be him. Over there. Jiao Jin pointed ahead and ran ahead to lead the way. Tang Nian grabbed a grass basket, pretending to gather pig grass, and slowly followed. Sure enough, at the bottom of a small hill, she vaguely saw Lu Jinglan and a tall, thin man in green military uniform, but she couldn't see his face clearly. The two kept a distance, and there was no hint of romance. Tang Nian shushed the kids with a finger to her lips, signaling them to be quiet, and sent Bai Sui to eavesdrop. Bai Sui listened for a moment, and quickly returned. Woof. That man wants to find you, but the bad woman won't introduce you. Bai Sui succinctly relayed the message. Tang Nian frowned. Who is this man? She quietly moved to the back of the grass slope, and the man's voice came through. Lu Jinglan, you've been in Tang Village for months. Why can't you get along with the villagers? The man was Zhou Siren. He had been in Tang Village for 2 days and wanted Lu Jinglan to introduce him to Tang Nian, but this woman kept making excuses, saying Tang Nian was working in the county or that she had a bad temper, refusing to take him to meet her. Sir, let me explain. The people in Tang Village are very uncivilized. They act like bandits. Tang Nian is a bandit woman. My cousin was beaten by her and lost 8 teeth. My cousin's family has been driven to despair by her. I'm worried you'll get involved with her. Lu Jinglan's face turned pale, and she spoke her mind in a panic. She didn't understand why Zhou Siren had come to Tang Village early and wanted to find Tang Nian right away. What kind of spell had that woman cast on Zhou Siren? Zhou Siren frowned, the beautiful face of Tang Nian appearing in his mind. He didn't believe such a beautiful person could be a bandit woman. Even if she really had a bad temper, he still needed to find Tang Nian to get the secret medicine from the Tang family to save his cousin. Zhou Siren was tall, slightly shorter than Xin Xiao, but still 185 centimeters, a height that stood out in the south. He was also quite handsome, with thick eyebrows and bright eyes, exuding a strong and manly aura. His pride and superiority from childhood made his demeanor particularly unique. Moreover, the watch he wore, along with his military uniform and leather shoes, made him stand out even more in Tang Village. When he arrived in Tang Village, the village chief ordered the villagers to avoid provoking Zhou Siren, especially the girls, warning them not to develop any inappropriate feelings, or he wouldn't take responsibility for any trouble. Forget it, I'll go find the village chief. Zhou Siren lost his patience. He had always had a spoiled temperament, just like his cousin Zhou Siling, domineering, decisive, and very self-centered. Giving Lu Jinglan a bit of patience was already a big concession. I'll take you to find him. Let's go now. Lu Jinglan panicked. Her family background was nothing compared to the Zhou family. After being reborn, she had barely managed to become friends with Zhou Siren through a few coincidences, but their relationship was only average. No matter what Zhou Siren's purpose was in finding Tang Nian Nian, the one who would eventually become Mrs. Zhou must be her. Lu Jinglan bit her lip tightly. She had to keep Zhou Siren calm. This man had a spoiled temperament and could explode at any moment. She needed to soothe him. What do you want with me? Lu Jinglan, are you itching for trouble again? Tang Nian Nian walked out directly, holding a handful of grass she had just pulled, still muddy, with a fat and wriggling worm on it. She casually threw the grass at Lu Jinglan, hitting her squarely in the face.
Ah!
Tang Nian Nian, what are you doing? Lu Jinglan shouted in frustration. She reached down to pull some grass, but instead grabbed something soft. When she looked closely, she was terrified.
Ah!
Lu Jinglan screamed and jumped up, still tightly holding onto the clump of mud, while the worm struggled desperately. Zhou Siren looked at Tang Nian Nian with interest. She was even more beautiful and lively in person than in the photos, and her personality matched his taste. He liked lively and bold girls. He had no interest in quiet girls who smiled without showing their teeth. Hello, I'm Zhou Siren, a youth from the capital. I've heard your name before. It's famous. Zhou Siren reached out his hand and gave what he thought was a charming smile, a tactic that had worked on many girls in the capital. However, Tang Nian Nian ignored him and didn't extend her hand. Zhou Siren's hand hung in the air for a minute, and his smile gradually faded. He awkwardly withdrew his hand and chuckled. I might have been a bit presumptuous. Maybe you're not used to shaking hands here. What do you want from me? Are you trying to get revenge for Lu Jinglan? Tang Nian Nian asked directly. She had no interest in Zhou Siren and even wanted to break a few of his bones. No, Lu Jinglan and I are just ordinary friends. I don't know about your issues. It must be a misunderstanding. I just want to be friends with you. Zhou Siren quickly clarified, and he was telling the truth. They weren't close at all. He noticed that Tang Nian Nian and Lu Jinglan had some past grievances, so to win Tang Nian Nian's favor, he would need to keep his distance from Lu Jinglan. Lu Jinglan, still struggling with the worm, felt her heart sink when she heard this. After all her efforts, was it just to be ordinary friends? Tang Nian Nian deliberately said loudly, Lu Jinglan, this guy says you're just ordinary friends. Lu Jinglan's expression turned cold, and she clenched her teeth, pretending not to hear, but her palms were bleeding from her nails digging in. I'm not interested in you and don't want to be friends because you're friends with Lu Jinglan. Tang Nian Nian said this on purpose and turned to leave. Zhou Siren quickly followed, grinning, then Lu Jinglan and I aren't friends anymore. Tang Nian Nian, I'm in love with you at first sight. Your feelings are so cheap.
Tang Nian Nian Scop.
What was good about this arrogant rich kid? To say he fell in love at first sight on their first meeting was ridiculous. I truly fell in love with you at first sight, Tang Nian Nian. Let's be friends? Let's get to know each other again. I'm Zhou Siren, Zhou from Zheng, Si from Wen, and Ren from Rani. Zhou Siren kept smiling. Honestly, his approach could charm many girls. But he was dealing with Tang Nian Nian. He was bound to hit a wall. An elegant scoundrel, without virtue or righteousness. Tang Nian Nian sneered, showing no mercy. Zhou Siren's expression changed slightly, anger flashing in his eyes. He had always been praised. Who dared to disrespect him? Tang Nian was pretty, but she was just a country girl with a big attitude. If it weren't for the secret medicine, he would have exploded with anger. However, seeing Tang Nian's beautiful face calmed him down a bit. He even comforted himself that it was understandable for someone so beautiful to have a bit of a temper. For the secret medicine, he would endure. Zhou Siren stubbornly followed her. The reason Tang Nian hadn't punched him yet was that she wanted to figure out his intentions. He came to Tang Village early and immediately wanted to find her, which definitely meant he had bad intentions. Under her intentional guidance, Zhou Siren revealed a hint of information. Tang Nian, do you know that a big capitalist came from your Tang Village? I don't know. Tang Village is poor and has no landlords. Tang Nian's mind raced. She knew very well, because that big capitalist was her distant ancestor. Tang Village was actually her hometown. Her ancestor had left Tang Village and became a big boss in the city. However, her branch of the family had no one left in Tang Village. The old man Tang Qingshan and the team leader were only distant relatives. You wouldn't know. This big capitalist is named Tang Yaozu. He left Tang Village at 13 and became successful in the city, back when it was still the previous dynasty. Zhou Siren said while observing Tang Nian's reaction. Tang Yaozu was indeed Tang Nian's ancestor. I haven't heard of him. Why are you telling me this? Do you want to be a capitalist? Tang Nian retorted, but she was on high alert. This isn't a joke. My family is well established and has nothing to do with capitalists. I'm just curious about this history. Zhou Siren was getting anxious. It seemed Tang Nian really didn't know about Tang Yaozu. Did she not know her own background? How would she find the treasure? I also know a secret. Do you want to hear it? Zhou Siren asked cautiously. He glanced back coldly at Lu Jinglan, who was behind him. Meeting his fierce gaze, she shivered and forced a smile, saying, I'm going to work. Zhou Siren ignored her, his expression cold. Heartbroken and disappointed, Lu Jinglan quickly left. She didn't go to work but returned to the youth station and cried on her bed. After planning for so long and finally seeing some progress, she was ruined by that Tang Nian. She wouldn't give up. There had to be a way. Lu Jinglan took out a packet of medicine from the cupboard, something she had brought from the capital. If she could get Zhou Siren to take it, she could make things happen. This was a last resort. She didn't want to use it unless absolutely necessary. Zhou Siren was proud and domineering. If she resorted to this, she might not even get into the Zhou family and could be retaliated against. So she had been hesitant to use it. But now, she changed her mind. She would use this medicine on that Tang Nian. She wanted to find an old and ugly man for that girl. Meanwhile, Tang Nian listened as Zhou Siren mentioned the secret. I heard that Tang Yaozu hid half of his wealth back in his hometown. It might be on this mountain. Zhou Siren pointed to the green mountain in front of them, his smile turning mysterious. In fact, the Tang family treasure was definitely on this mountain. But although the mountain wasn't high, it was sprawling and undulating. Without a detailed location, the treasure would never be found. Zhou Siren still believed that Tang Nian must have clues about the treasure. When her parents went to the other side, their future was uncertain, and no one could guarantee they would survive. Tang Nian's father was the son of the woman the head of the Tang family loved most. His grandfather believed that the clues to the treasure must have been left to Tang Nian's father. And when Tang Nian's father went to the other side, not knowing if he would live or die, he would have surely left the clues for his young daughter. So, Tang Nian must have the key or map to the treasure. Even if Tang Nian didn't know, the family that adopted her definitely did. Tang Nian shot him a cold glance, scoffed, and said, Do people from the capital have a screw loose? Yang Hongling is a loose woman. Lu Jinglan steals and seduces men, and you're delusional. She glared at him fiercely, snorted coldly, and walked away. She had gathered all the information she needed and didn't want to deal with this jerk anymore. Tang Nian, listen to me, I was just joking. Zhou Siren chased after her, but He couldn't run as fast as Tang Nian and was blocked by a pack of dogs. Leading the group was a fierce-looking yellow dog. Its gaze momentarily made him feel like he was staring at a wolf, and he froze in place. Woof. Soft shrimp, way weaker than the big guy, Xin Xiao. Bai Sui looked down on him. It could easily take down this soft shrimp with one paw. With such low quality, it dared to pursue its master? What a daydream. Once Tang Nian was far away, Bai Sui led its followers to retreat. Zhou Siren was extremely frustrated. His plan had failed, and Tang Nian was colder than an iceberg, making her hard to approach. He didn't feel discouraged. His cousin was still waiting for his secret medicine, and he had to find out where the treasure was. Tang Nian rushed home, headed straight to her room, and rummaged through everything. She only found some hair accessories, clips, and clothes from her childhood, but no treasure. Zhou Siren wouldn't come for no reason. He must have come for the Tang family treasure. She also remembered something. In her past life, when Lu Jinglan married Zhou Siren, the Zhou family wasn't that powerful, even a bit weaker than the Shun family. But after all the Tang family members died, the Zhou family suddenly rose to power. They surpassed the Shun family and other noble families in the capital, quickly becoming one of the top families. Zhou Siren was also placed in a very important department, rising swiftly, and later became the head of the Zhou family. Could it be that in her past life, the Zhou family found the Tang family treasure and offered it up, leading to their rise as a reward from above? Darn it! Tang Nian cursed, feeling angry that her family's belongings were taken as favors, benefiting the Zhou family, so shameless. She searched the entire room but still found no clues about the treasure. Tang Nian frowned. She and Zhou Siren thought alike. Before her parents left, they must have left some clues. Otherwise, when they went to Xiangjiang, it was a life-or-death situation. If something happened, she would be the only survivor. They should have left a map. Where could it be? Tang Nian instinctively touched her collarbone, but it was empty. The jade gourd had already fused with the space. Her eyes brightened for a moment. Could the treasure the Zhou family got be the space inside the jade gourd? She quickly dismissed the thought. With Lu Jinglan's selfishness, if she had such a great treasure, she definitely wouldn't hand it over. It must be another treasure. Tang Nian didn't want to search anymore and decided to wait for Grandma Tang to come back to ask about what happened back then. After dinner, Tang Nian pulled Grandma Tang into her room to talk. The dishes aren't washed yet. I'll wash them later. Tang Nian dragged the old lady into the room and closed the door and windows, making it feel mysterious. Grandma Tang's heart raced. She thought Tang Nian had gotten into trouble outside. Did you get caught in the black market? Grandma Tang asked quietly, her face full of worry. No, Grandma, I want to ask you something. 17 years ago, when Grandpa brought me home, what did I have with me? Tang Nian asked directly. She had known since she was little that she wasn't a real Tang family member. It was something Tang Wujin had said during an argument. At that time, she was very sad, crying and running to ask the old man. He comforted her for a long time, punished Tang Wujin, and said she was the treasure of the family, irreplaceable. As she grew older, she stopped being upset about her background. Her grandparents treated her better than their own granddaughter. If she continued to be sensitive, she would be ungrateful. Grandma Tang recalled the past and gestured as she spoke. You are not even a month old, wrapped in a small blanket made of silk. Very festive. The little clothes you wore were also silk. I had never seen such fine material before. You were so soft and white, like a dumpling, smiling at everyone. So adorable. Tang Nian felt a bit embarrassed. Was she really that cute as a child? Grandma, besides the jade gourd, what else did my parents give me? Money and coupons. Your parents gave a lot of money and food coupons, enough for you to eat and drink for decades, plus over a dozen cans of milk powder, all brand name. Grandma Tang felt emotional just thinking about it. In her 60-plus years of life, it was the first time she had seen a family that cared so much for their daughter. Everything they brought was the best. The old man said that Nian's parents cried their eyes out, and if it weren't so inconvenient to take her, they would never have left her behind. Why are you asking this all of a sudden? Grandma Tang found it strange that she was asking about this out of the blue. Did Nian Nian miss her parents? Grandma, that new male-educated youth suddenly told me a lot of nonsense, saying my great-great-great-great-grandfather left a treasure on the back mountain. He must be testing me. Tang Nian Nian didn't hide anything. Although Grandma Tang liked to show off, she was actually very tight-lipped and wouldn't say anything she shouldn't. That Zhou guy? I knew he wasn't a good person. Besides the mountain, how could there be treasure? What nonsense! Grandma Tang's face darkened. She had seen Zhou Siren and Lu Jinglan talking shamelessly several times. They were indeed cut from the same cloth. Suddenly, Grandma Tang thought of something, slapped her thigh, and whispered, I still have that little blanket. There might be something in it. She had kept the clothes and blanket Nian Nian wore as a child, washing them clean and saving them, afraid to take them out. Such exquisite material would definitely cause trouble if seen by others. Tang Nian Nian followed Grandma Tang to her room. They closed the door and windows again, like thieves. Grandma Tang finally opened the box and found a cloth bag at the very bottom. After unwrapping it, a smooth, soft, multicolored silk blanket appeared, made from many pieces of fabric sewn together. It was clear that making it into a blanket took a lot of effort, showing how much of a treasure Tang Nian Nian was to her parents. Tang Nian Nian opened the small blanket and inspected it carefully, but found nothing. She felt around slowly. The blanket was really soft and silky against her skin. When she reached the corner, she finally touched something hard. Grandma, bring me a pair of scissors. Tang Nian Nian could tear the blanket open, but she didn't want to damage it. If she cut the threads, she could sew it back together. Grandma Tang was very excited. Her breathing quickened as she brought the scissors, reminding Tang Nian Nian to be careful. Don't tear it. This is silk. Tang Nian Nian snipped a few threads, then tore it open, revealing a small piece of parchment inside. If Tang Nian Nian hadn't specifically checked the blanket, she would never have found it. On the parchment was a simple map, with some place names marked. Tang Nian Nian immediately recognized it as Qingniu Mountain. It was the back mountain of Tang Village. She also recognized the marked location as the valley where the wild boars appeared, a place that used to have wolves. The people of Tang Village never went there, and they still don't. Could the Tang family's treasure be buried in that valley? Nian girl, is this the treasure map? Old Lady Tang asked softly, her eyes sparkling and her heart racing. There must be many treasures in the treasure chamber, right? Like big gold bracelets and chains, surely there are lots. She could ask her granddaughter for one to wear. That should be okay, right? It's a map, but I don't know what it hides. Tang Nian Nian handed the parchment map to her grandmother. Old Lady Tang squinted at the lamp, studying it for a long time, muttering, it looks like Qingniu Mountain, but not quite. It is Qingniu Mountain, Grandma. Think again. Did Grandpa ever tell you anything? Tang Nian Nian believed her parents must have shared some things with the old man. Let me think. Oh, right. The old man told me to keep this little quilt safe and said he would give it to you when you grew up as a keepsake. After thinking for a while, Old Lady Tang could only remember that. Even if the old man hadn't reminded her, she wouldn't have been able to throw away such a beautiful little quilt. Nian girl, no matter if there are treasures or not, don't go looking for them. Just let them stay buried in the mountain. After calming down, Old Lady Tang started to feel anxious. The Tang family had faced trouble because they had too much money. They said they went to enjoy life on the other side, but who knows if they're still alive. She didn't wish for great wealth, just hoped her family had enough to eat and wear and lived safely. Okay, I won't look. Tang Nian Nian put away the parchment, her tone firm, trying to reassure the old lady. She would secretly search for it. If there really was treasure, she would keep it for herself and not let the Zhou family benefit. Old Lady Tang believed her, sighed in relief, and went to get her sewing kit to mend the torn quilt. She took the sewing kit, bit the thread to hold it, and tried to thread the needle by the lamp, but after several attempts, it was still empty. Nian Nian, help me thread the needle. I'm getting old. My eyes aren't what they used to be. Old Lady Tang rubbed her eyes, feeling a bit melancholic. Time really isn't kind. Last year she could still thread a needle, but this year her eyesight has failed her. Tang Nian took the needle and threaded it in one go. She handed the needle to her grandmother, then went outside to pour a glass of water and added a drop of spring water. "Grandma, have a drink." "Just what I needed." Old Lady Tang was very pleased. People said Nian had a bad temper and was lazy, but she was the most caring among her granddaughters, always thinking of her and the old man, saving the best food for them. None of her other granddaughters were this thoughtful. She drank the water in one gulp and smacked her lips. "Why is this water so sweet? It tastes really good." "Grandma, it's your sweet mouth." Tang Nian joked as she took the empty cup outside. It was already dark. Su Jinfeng had finished washing the dishes and was sitting under the lamp making shoe soles, while Tang Manjin was cleaning the pigsty and chicken coop. The chickens and pigs made a lot of mess every day, and Old Lady Tang loved cleanliness, so she had to clean up the droppings daily. Tang Jiujin had gone out to play with his friends, bringing along Bai Shui.
Jang.
It was 8 o'clock. Many families in the village had turned off their lights. Televisions were not common yet, and there wasn't a single TV in Tang Village. The villagers had almost no entertainment at night, and by 8, they were usually in bed. Jiujin quickly ran back, followed by Bai Shui, his little face covered in sweat, his hair soaked. "Played until I was all sweaty again." Su Jinfeng scolded as she wiped Jiujin's sweat. His autumn shirt was wet, and he would need a bath and a change of clothes.
Tan Nian smile.
This kind of warmth had disappeared in the apocalypse.
Woof.
The lame one is back. The day after tomorrow, he will take his sister to the city. Bai Shui reported to its master. Now it had dogs as informants within a radius of several dozen miles, keeping track of the movements of Qi family and the educated youth point.
Keep watching. Tan Nian silentisne.
Qi Guohua couldn't possibly be unaware of what He Jisheng was like, yet he still dared to send his sister over. That jerk was extremely selfish and cold-hearted. Qi Guochun was in the hands of that pervert He Jisheng. Dying quickly would be a blessing. She looked forward to this woman's future life. "Bai Shui, how about we make a bet?" "Woof. What are we betting on?" Bai Shui's eyes lit up. It hadn't bet in a long time. "I bet Qi Guochun can last for a month." "What do you think?" "Woof. 20 days. Bai Shui looked down on Qi Guochun, seeing her as weak.
"Woof.
"If I win, I want a bone, every day." Bai Shui was confident it would win. "Fine, but if you lose, you have to harvest all the mature crops in the space." Tang Nian suppressed her laughter. Bai Shui was so good. It always offered to help her out. Even if Qi Guochun really couldn't last 20 days, she would find a way to keep that woman hanging on.
Woof. Deal.
Bai Shui agreed without hesitation, certain it wouldn't lose. Tang Nian looked toward the Qi family's direction, thinking of the first to die, Qi Guochun. She was eager to see who would be next. At midnight, Tang Village was very quiet. Even the chickens and dogs were silent. You could faintly hear snoring and mumbling. Tang Nian changed into her night clothes, left the Tang house, and quickly headed toward the back mountain, with Bai Shui following closely behind. She was going treasure hunting. The moonlight was bright, illuminating the mountain in a hazy glow, like it was covered with a thin veil. Tang Nian didn't have time to appreciate it. She moved at full speed and, after an hour, arrived at the valley where the wild boars appeared. The valley was filled with wild lilies and other unknown wildflowers. The scenery was beautiful. Tang Nian took out the parchment, looking for the treasure location. Suddenly, Bai Shui crouched low, its fur bristling, digging at the ground with its front paws, entering a state of high alert, indicating it sensed a strong enemy. Tang Nian also drew her weapon, a sharp hidden knife, watching her surroundings cautiously. The night was deep, and the mountain was quiet, with no signs of anything unusual. But Tang Nian knew that Bai Shui would never alert her for no reason. Something must be lurking in the shadows. Bai Shui suddenly sprang into action, leaping behind a tree, and then two shadows, one yellow and one white, clashed like flashes of lightning, for flying everywhere, making her nose itch.
Achoo.
Tang Nian covered her nose, but a few hairs still got in, making it unbearably itchy. She walked over and finally saw the white shadow clearly. It was a very beautiful dog. No, it was a wolf. With upright ears, it resembled a dog. With a drooping tail, it was clearly a wild wolf. This beautiful white wolf had its tail down, clearly a wild wolf, and its fighting ability was impressive, matching Bai Shui's skills. The two were evenly matched, and Tang Nian didn't feel like breaking up the fight. Instead, she lay down and looked up, her face showing delight. It was a little princess. Bai Jue, stop fighting. That's your partner. Tang Nian could communicate with Bai Jue through thoughts, cheering and shouting for Bai Jue to stop the fight. No fighting with your wife. Woof. Where? Bai Jue turned to ask, and accidentally got hit by a paw from the white wolf, yelping in pain and swiping back at the wolf. Stop it. This white one is pretty, right? Can we fight? Tang Nian pointed at the white wolf. Bai Jue froze, took a few more hits, but didn't retaliate, feeling a bit shy. Woof. I won't fight anymore. Bai Jue stepped back a few paces, voluntarily calling for a truce. The white wolf tilted its head, sizing it up, and barked, "This is my home. You should leave." This valley used to be the territory of wild boars. It couldn't defeat a dozen of them, and had to settle nearby. But one day, the wild boars suddenly disappeared, and now it was its territory. Woof. This is clearly my wild boar brother's home. What happened to them? Bai Jue asked shamelessly. I don't know. Who knows where they went? The white wolf looked away, feeling guilty. Although the disappearance of the wild boars had nothing to do with it, it had fought with them before for territory, and both sides had gotten hurt. Unexpectedly, this fierce yellow dog was friends with the wild boars. Woof. I know this place better than you. Bai Jue, with a thick skin, shamelessly claimed the valley as its own. The white wolf, lacking confidence, didn't dare to argue, especially since it couldn't even defeat this yellow dog, let alone the intimidating two-legged creature that hadn't even moved yet. Come here. Tang Nian waved her hand. The white wolf hesitated for a long time before cautiously stepping forward, keeping a meter away. Delicious food. Tang Nian had a handful of spiritual spring water. After all, Bai Jue's future wife was one of their own. The white wolf's eyes, like dark grapes, lit up immediately. Without hesitation, it pounced on Tang Nian's hand, licking it eagerly, wagging its tail, ears pressed back, and eyes squinting with joy. So tasty. The white wolf continued licking Tang Nian's hand, looking pleased, wagging its tail even more. No one would believe it was a wolf. All gone. Tang Nian patted the white wolf's head, its fur soft and pleasant to touch. With just a handful of spiritual spring water, the white wolf was won over. No matter where Tang Nian went, the white wolf followed, flanking her and Bai Jue like a powerful bodyguard. Tang Nian searched the valley for a long time, but couldn't find the treasure entrance. Over the years, the scenery on the mountain had changed a lot, and this treasure was likely hidden by her ancestors 100 years ago. After a century, the trees in the valley had grown and didn't match the drawing on the parchment. The white wolf looked suspicious. It sensed that the beautiful two-legged creature seemed to be searching for something important. Could it be the cave it accidentally entered last time? Inside, there were many boxes, but it couldn't open them. The white wolf nudged Bai Jue and whimpered a few times in its ear. Woof. My partner says there's a cave. Bai Jue quickly reported. Tang Nian's eyes brightened. She asked the white wolf to lead the way, and even gave it a name. From now on, you'll be called Fubao, okay? Tang Nian gave it a lucky name, wishing for longevity and good fortune. Fubao happily wagged its tail, liking the name. Fubao ran ahead, taking a steep path covered in vines. Luckily, Tang Nian was agile. An ordinary person wouldn't have made it through. After half an hour, Tang Nian heard the sound of water, and the air was humid, indicating a water source ahead. This is the way in. Fubao jumped across a creek about 2 to 3 meters wide, followed by Bai Jue. Tang Nian took a leap, and the view opened up to a wide canyon. Mountains flanked both sides, steep but not very high. If it weren't for Fubao leading the way, this treasure spot wouldn't have been easy to find. Tang Nian took out the map to check and realized she might not be at the entrance. She didn't care anymore. As long as she could find the treasure, that was what mattered. The white wolf pointed to a cave, indicating it was inside. However, the entrance was a bit awkward. A very small hole. Fubao and Baijue could easily squeeze in, but Tang Nian had some trouble. She took a deep breath, shrank her body, and tried her head first. No problem. Then her shoulders, okay, that worked too. Tang Nian felt happy. Luckily, she was slim. But then, she got stuck at her backside. After struggling for a while, her face turned red, but she still couldn't get in. At that moment, she was half inside the cave and half outside. Woof. Baijue's voice came from outside, pushing hard with all four paws, its teeth bared. Fubao was also pushing against Baijue. The two of them, using all their strength, finally kicked Tang Nian into the cave. However, they kicked a bit too hard, and Tang Nian couldn't stop herself, crashing against the cave wall and seeing stars. After a while, she finally recovered, rubbing her forehead, which had a big bump. Ouch! Tang Nian gasped in pain. Finding treasure was really not easy. Baijue and Fubao also came in. Tang Nian took out a flashlight and walked deeper into the cave. Occasionally, a few bats flew up. She shone the light on the cave walls, which were covered with bats sleeping, thick layers of bat droppings on the ground. She planned to collect some to sell at the herbal medicine shop. Bat droppings were valuable, known as night bright sand. With so much, it could sell for a good amount. After walking for nearly half an hour, they finally arrived. This is it. So many boxes. Fubao barked happily. Tang Nian didn't rush in immediately. She first assessed the environment. The cave Fubao mentioned was inside. The entrance was small enough for one person, and Baijue and Fubao went in quickly, soon coming back to indicate it was safe. Once inside, the cave opened up to about 30 square meters. Tang Nian noticed clear signs of being carved out by tools, indicating it was man-made. Dozens of boxes made of rosewood lined the walls, still intact after 100 years. Tang Nian counted a total of 100 boxes and stored them all in her space. The cave was suddenly empty. Tang Nian instructed Fubao and Baijue to leave their scent in the cave to deter other wild animals from making it their home. After leaving the cave, Tang Nian collected the night bright sand, which weighed about a ton, likely accumulated over many years. The older it was, the more valuable it seemed, and it could fetch a good price. Back in the valley, Tang Nian asked, Fubao, do you want to come with me? There will be delicious food every day. Yes. The white wolf nodded vigorously. It didn't want to be alone on the mountain. It wanted to be with its beautiful master. Tang Nian smiled and stored Fubao in her space, with Baijue following suit. Fubao was stunned for a moment, then started running joyfully in the space, with Baijue chasing after it. The two quickly became friends, and it seemed like a wedding would happen soon. Tang Nian smiled and left them alone. She exited the space and began her descent down the mountain. Once back in her room, she entered the space to open the boxes. Each box had a copper key and a number. Tang Nian opened the first box. A golden light burst forth, revealing gold ingots inside, each worth 100 taels, with inscriptions from the Yongjing era at the bottom. This box of ingots was already an antique, worth much more than the gold itself. Anyone who saw it would become rich. Tang Nian opened each box one by one, finding gold ingots from the Yongjing, Qianlong, Jiaqing, Xianfeng, and Tongji eras, as well as gold bars. There were 50 boxes of gold in total. Her initial excitement turned into calmness. With so much gold, she could never spend it all. But coming in every day to see it made her very happy. 10 boxes contained precious porcelain, and 20 boxes were filled with jade, gemstones, pearls, and various jewelry, each piece worth a fortune. She loved every item, but sadly, she couldn't wear them yet. In a few years, She would wear a different piece every day. The last 20 boxes held antique paintings, rare herbs, and silk spices. All were very precious, so much so that Tang Nian couldn't bear to use them. Some spices and silks had already been lost to time. Tang Nian's eyes sparkled with pride. Her ancestors were truly remarkable. Not to say they were as rich as a country, but they were at least at the level of a major tycoon. If it weren't for the turmoil, she could have lived a life of ease from birth. The last box contained valuable herbs, all well preserved. What caught Tang Nian's interest was a small jade bottle, only 2 inches tall, made of exquisite mutton fat jade. Such a precious bottle surely held something extraordinary. Tang Nian didn't open the jade bottle right away. Instead, she looked at the letter. Next to the jade bottle was a yellowed letter. It was written in brush strokes, from left to right, in traditional Chinese characters. Tang Nian quickly read it. The letter was from her grandfather, stating that this bottle of medicine was left by her distant ancestor. This ancestor had a fortuitous encounter, rising from an ordinary mountain man to a wealthy man. The bottle of medicine was passed down, containing a total of 100 pills, capable of bringing the dead back to life and extending life. By now, most of the pills had been consumed, leaving only 10. Her grandfather placed this medicine here for the descendants of the Tang family, preparing for a comeback. From the tone of the letter, it seemed her grandfather foresaw that the Tang family would face turmoil, which is why he left only 10 pills. Unfortunately, in her previous life, all these treasures ended up with the Zhou family and Lu Jinglan. Tang Nian gritted her teeth, vowing that this time, the Zhou family would face destruction. She opened the bottle, and a strong medicinal fragrance wafted out, along with a sense of spiritual energy, likely from the spiritual spring. So, the main ingredient of these pills must be from the spiritual spring. Tang Nian speculated that her ancestor's fortuitous encounter was likely due to obtaining a jade gourd and recognizing it with blood, allowing him to rise from an ordinary mountain dweller to a wealthy man. This ancestor worried that future generations wouldn't be able to control the space, so he left behind 100 pills made from the spiritual spring. No wonder Zhou's siren said that the Tang family members lived long lives. With the pills from the spiritual spring, it would be hard not to live long. But Tang Nian couldn't understand why the Tang family didn't recognize the space with blood, since it only required a drop. Did something happen back then? Or did recognizing the space depend on luck? Tang Nian didn't want to think about it anymore. She neatly stacked the boxes and left the space to sleep, setting an alarm for 10 in the morning to go into town for the sock machine. She slept until 10, quickly washed up, and took out the breakfast left by Grandma Tang, a plate of egg fried rice. The golden eggs wrapped around the rice, sprinkled with green onions, looked and tasted great. Grandma Tang must have used at least 2 eggs. Tang Nian was very satisfied. The little grandma was getting more generous. The Tang family's treasure trove had many gold bracelets. After a while, she would take out a couple to give to the little grandma. It would surely make her very happy. She made a cup of malt milk, finished her breakfast, wiped her mouth, and rode her bike into town. On the way, she ran into the captain and before he could ask, she said, "I'm going to get the sock machine." The captain's heart raced, his hands trembled, and he looked at her with much more kindness than Grandma Tang. "Be careful on the road, Nian girl. No need to rush, take your time." The captain's voice was as sweet as honey, sticky and sweet. "Then I'll go tomorrow." Tang Nian turned around. Since she wasn't in a hurry, she decided to go back to sleep. The captain's gentle demeanor instantly vanished. He crossed his legs, rolled up his sleeves, and forcefully turned Tang Nian's bike around.
"Go now."
"Hurry up." The captain's voice was rough. If she were his own child, he would have spanked her long ago. Knowing he was just being polite, he still took it seriously. He wished those 30 sock machines could sprout wings and fly back on their own instead of waiting until tomorrow. Tang Nian gritted her teeth. If he weren't her third uncle, she would have punched him by now. "Third uncle, you're so hypocritical." Tang Nian retorted angrily and rode away. "Ride faster. Don't waste time." The captain shouted from behind. He realized that he couldn't be too polite with her. If he showed her any kindness, she would get all sassy. Tang Nian ignored him, but her speed noticeably increased. In no time, she disappeared from sight. The sky in the liberated area is bright, and the people there are so nice. The captain walked with his hands behind his back, humming a tune-off key, happily going to work. By tonight, he would finally see his beloved sock machines. The captain's mood was more excited than when he married his wife. Even the troubles with the Chi family couldn't dampen his spirits. The Chi couple didn't come to work, saying they were marrying off their daughter. They arranged a city marriage for Chi Guochun with the head of the tail-cutting committee, a big official. The villagers, who were always fickle, immediately changed their tune and started to curry favor with the Chi family. The captain watched coldly, thinking these people were really foolish. How many good people were there in the tail-cutting committee? Moreover, this director, who was said to be marrying Chi Guochun, had no matchmaker, no gifts, and didn't even hold a banquet. He didn't come to welcome the bride, leaving Chi Guochun to deliver herself to him. Was this a marriage, or just taking a concubine? Such a family that didn't understand etiquette, even if they were presidents, he wouldn't marry into. Only the shallow-minded people of the Chi family would happily send Chi Guochun off, and she was so foolish that she really believed she was going to become a cadre's wife in the city, walking in with a smile. She would have her crying moments in the future. Although the captain foresaw that the director wasn't a good match, he didn't expect Chi Guohua to be so ruthless as to send his own sister into the fire. He thought the director might be older or have a bad temper. The Chi family is going to be proud again. Their son-in-law is a city director. I heard the Chi family say that the director promised to arrange a job for Chi Guohua in a state-owned enterprise. Chi Guohua really knows how to network. Since there were no opportunities in the army, he quickly hooked up with the director. Impressive. Villagers gathered in small groups, discussing the Chi family. Some fence-sitters began to regret not waiting a bit longer. Who would have thought the Chi family could rise again? Some people planned to visit the Chi family once they returned from the city to rebuild their relationships. Maybe they could even secure a stable job for themselves. Even if it wasn't a permanent position, they would settle for temporary work. They weren't picky. Old Lady Tang worked silently, pulling weeds with a serious expression. Today, she was especially quiet and focused on her task. But inside, she was restless, muttering curses at the Chi family. That old man must be ancient, older than Chi Guochun's father, ugly, short, and a total loser. Even if he were an emperor, who would want him? Mai Nian earns 98 yuan a month, and Mai Xiao is a deputy regiment leader. Can a mere director compare to that? What a disaster. Heaven must be blind. Tang Laolu is useless. After all this time, he still hasn't married Chi Guochun. What a pathetic loser. Even if the Chi family has a director as a relative, they can't compare to us. Old Lady Tang was intensely agitated, firmly believing her family was better than the Chi family, yet she couldn't help but envy their luck. Even if that director was an old fool, it still made her bitter. Chi Guochun didn't deserve a good life in the city. If she married a beggar, Old Lady Tang would feel more balanced. All morning, Old Lady Tang channeled her anger into work, pulling weeds from half an acre without feeling tired. She was full of energy and could have done even more. Meanwhile, Tang Laolu was lost in despair, feeling aimless. He wasn't upset about Chi Guochun's situation. He was worried about himself. The Grim Reaper had said that if he didn't marry Chi Guochun within half a month, he would die. Now, with half the month nearly gone, was he about to meet the King of Hell? Tang Laolu's face turned pale as he sat on the ground, sweating profusely. Everyone around thought he was just heartbroken over losing his bride and would end up single. Around 3 in the afternoon, Tang Nian returned in her car, which could only carry 20 sock machines. She planned to bring the remaining 10 into the city the next day. On the way, she ran into Zhou Jin and his colleague on bicycles. "Comrade Zhou, where are you headed?" Tang Nian stopped the car and called out. Zhou Jin was momentarily stunned, rubbed his eyes to confirm he wasn't mistaken, and realized it was Shun Zhao's childhood friend. Miss Tang, you can drive? Where are you going? Zhou Jin was surprised. Every time he saw Tang Nian, he was amazed. This girl was something special. Back to Tang Village.
How about you?
What a coincidence. We're also going to Tang Village. Zhou Jin smiled and didn't need Tang Nian to invite him. He called his colleague to help load the machines into the truck, admiring the neatly arranged sock machines inside. Once in the driver's seat, Zhou Jin curiously asked, "Are all these machines for socks?" "Yes, we're starting a sock factory in Tang Village." Tang Nian skillfully started the car. She drove fast but steady. "You drive very well. How long have you been learning?" Zhou Jin's colleague was shy and quiet, but Zhou Jin was outgoing and could easily make conversation. "I haven't been learning long. I'm just talented." Tang Nian smiled, not being modest at all, and didn't ask Zhou Jin what he was doing in Tang Village. She wasn't curious. When they reached a fork in the road, they saw familiar faces. The Qi family of 3. Qi father was pulling a cart, Qi Guohua was sitting on it, and Qi mother was pushing from behind. Unlike the cheerful morning, Qi father and Qi mother looked somber and upset. "That He Jisheng is so ugly. Guohua, why didn't you say anything earlier?" Qi mother complained. When she first saw He Jisheng, she was nearly scared to death. In her 40-plus years, she had never seen anyone so hideous. His eyes and nose were squished together, and his nose was practically non-existent, just 2 holes. Even a ghost looked better than He Jisheng. Living with someone like that would be terrifying, especially at night. Although Qi mother cared more about her son, she didn't want her daughter to marry such a monster. When Qi Guochun saw He Jisheng, she turned and ran, crying that she wouldn't marry him. The ugly man had many people blocking them and said frightening things, so they dared not resist and could only watch helplessly as he dragged their daughter into the room. Outside, Qi Guochun was inside, and soon screams and cries for help echoed. "Dad, help me. Mom, please save me, brother. I'm going to die." Qi Guochun kept screaming, her voice growing weaker until it stopped. The Qi family panicked, fearing their daughter might be killed by the monster. But they still didn't dare to fight back. They were just ordinary people. How could they stand up to someone in power? He Jisheng stayed inside for 2 hours before coming out, saying he wanted to keep Qi Guochun, but the Qi family couldn't feel happy. They rushed in to see Qi Guochun and were horrified by her condition. Qi Guochun was naked, covered in blood, conscious but with wide, dull eyes, unresponsive to their calls. Seeing their daughter like this broke Qi father and Qi mother's hearts, but they felt powerless. Even after they left, Qi Guochun didn't make a sound, as if she were dead. He Jisheng didn't send a vehicle to take them back to the village. He only mentioned that he would find a way, but didn't give a specific date. The 3 of them returned home, each lost in their thoughts. "Mom, Guochun is now He director's person. Once I get a stable job, I'll bring her back and find her a good husband." Qi Guohua was getting impatient. His mother had been complaining the whole way. He didn't understand why He Jisheng had such preferences, and when he mentioned it, his parents had been pleased and urged him to hurry. Now they were blaming him. How ridiculous. Qi Guohua's eyes were mocking, and he felt a chill in his demeanor. No man can be without ambition. He had come this far and must cling tightly to He Jisheng. He had to succeed. He had to take revenge. As for his sister, Qi Guohua felt a bit guilty, but not much. After all, she had to marry someone, and marrying a mountain man was worse than marrying He Jisheng, who could bring him benefits. Qi mother looked at her son's eerie demeanor and suddenly felt strange. How had her son changed so much? Could he really give his own sister to someone like He Jisheng? Would he do the same to her in the future? Qi mother couldn't think any further. She lowered her head and pushed the cart harder, feeling a chilling dread in her back.
Stop talking.
Guochun is now He director's person. As long as Guohua gets a job, that's what matters. Qi father quickly realized that their daughter would eventually marry, no matter who it was, as long as it brought benefits to the family. After all, He Jisheng was just a bit temperamental and rough. They would get used to it over time. Qi mother nodded slowly, not mentioning her daughter again, but her heart felt extremely cold. A brand new truck drove by, kicking up a cloud of dust that covered the Chi family. Tang Nian Nian honked the horn a few times, sharply and loudly, causing the Chi family to quickly step aside until the truck passed. "Is that Tang Nian Nian driving?" Chi mother suddenly shouted, pointing at the truck. She had just seen Tang Nian Nian turning the steering wheel. Chi father and Chi Guohua both looked over, but the truck had already driven away, and a cloud of yellow sand blew over, choking them. "It's impossible. You must have seen it wrong," Chi father snapped, saying that even if Tang Nian Nian was a formal worker at the Red Star factory, she couldn't afford to drive a truck. She must have made a mistake. Chi Guohua didn't believe it either, but he started to feel uneasy. Whenever he had this feeling, something bad usually happened. It can't be true. He had already been unlucky enough. What worse could happen? Feeling anxious, Chi Guohua reviewed recent events in his mind and calmed down a bit. Things in the army were mostly settled. He was just waiting for his retirement pay to clear his debts. Once he Jisheng arranged the workpieces, he could start over. Feeling a bit better, Chi Guohua was filled with confidence for the future. Tang Nian Nian soon arrived at the entrance of Tang Village. She honked the horn a few times, attracting a crowd. Among them was her little grandmother. Tang Grandma, with her short legs, rushed to the front, shouting, "Nian Nian? Is that you?" Tang Nian Nian leaned out of the car window and waved at her. "Oh my, it really is Nian Nian. She can drive." Nian Nian drove a big truck back. "Captain, Tang Nian Nian flew back in a big truck." The crowd spread the news quickly, and soon it reached the captain's ears, turning into Tang Nian Nian flew back. The captain, already anxious from waiting, rushed to the village entrance upon hearing that Tang Nian Nian had returned, regardless of whether she flew or ran. Tang Nian Nian's truck had already parked in front of the cafeteria. A crowd gathered around the truck, and when some children reached out to touch it, they were scolded by the adults. "Don't touch it. What if you break it? You couldn't pay for it even if you sold yourself." The children quickly pulled back their hands, scared to touch it. Tang Nian Nian jumped out of the truck and opened the back, revealing 20 sock machines. Although they were old, they were cleaned and oiled, looking almost new. Oh my, they really are sock machines. So many of them. Nian Nian didn't lie. She really brought back sock machines. The villagers' eyes widened in amazement, gazing at the machines as if they were looking at a stunning beauty, filled with admiration. "Your mother may be unfaithful, but my Nian Nian would never lie. Can you speak properly?" Tang Grandma rushed over, glaring at the person who dared to say her granddaughter was lying. The scolded person wasn't angry. Instead, he smiled and said, "Second aunt, tell Nian Nian to let me work at the factory. I work fast and well, and I won't get mad no matter how much you scold me." As long as he could work at the sock factory, he wouldn't mind being scolded every day. My Nian Nian said she doesn't handle these matters. She leaves them to the mistress. Tang Grandma shifted all the blame to the captain, as she had already arranged for her 2 daughters-in-law and didn't care about anyone else. "Nian Nian." The captain's excited voice approached quickly.
Whoa.
He slammed on the brakes, almost crashing into the truck, and rushed to the back as soon as he steadied himself. When he saw the sock machines, relief washed over him, and tears welled in his eyes. "Finally, we can start the factory. Tang Village will no longer be poor." The captain wiped his eyes, but the tears kept flowing. Several older villagers also had tears in their eyes. They had all lived through the famine years, witnessing their loved ones starve and even die from eating dirt or being unable to relieve themselves. During the famine, some people ate wild grains and died painfully without being able to relieve themselves. It was tragic. Although things were better now, they still struggled to get enough to eat, having meat only a few times a year. But with a factory, that would change. They would have enough food and even meat more often. Finally, Tang Village could live a good life. Thanks to Nian Nian. There are 10 more machines. I'll bring them tomorrow. Let's move these inside first. Tang Nian Nian felt a bit emotional. In her past life, she had watched a documentary about the old sock industry, where pioneers shared their struggles to start a business just to have enough to eat, and how they gradually grew. At first, their goal was very humble, just to have enough food. The captain wiped his tears and called for people to move the machines. Everyone carefully lifted the machines, being more cautious than when carrying a bridal sedan chair. Once all the sock machines were moved inside, the captain finally noticed Zhou Jin and the others and felt embarrassed. "I'm sorry, my eyesight is getting worse. Leaders, please come inside." The captain repeatedly apologized. He knew Zhou Jin but wasn't sure why he was there. It couldn't be about Nian Nian, could it? "It's fine, Captain. Just focus on your work. We'll be staying in Tang Village tonight." Zhou Jin smiled, as it was already dark. "It's no trouble. It's my honor." The captain invited them to his home, while trying to gather information. The villagers gathered in the cafeteria, reluctant to leave, gazing at the sock machines with fascination. One sock machine per person, a total of 30 machines, but we have hundreds of people in our village. Su Jinfeng will definitely be one. And Manyin's wife. She works as a temporary worker at the sock factory and is skilled. That makes 2 gone, leaving 28. The captain's daughter must be one. The villagers discussed job positions, realizing there were too many people for too few jobs. Everyone wanted to work, and some clever ones even started preparing gifts. As dusk approached, Qi Guohua and his family returned, looking dirty and disheveled, like beggars. The villagers warmly surrounded them. "Is Guochun not back? Did you have a banquet in the city? Where is Guohua going to work?" Qi Guohua forced a smile and replied, "Work is still being arranged. It won't be quick. My brother-in-law, Director He, said the higher-ups advocate for simplicity, so he won't hold a banquet, and Guochun has no objections." That's a high-minded leader. Will Guochuan's husband accompany her back? The villagers chattered, and Qi Guohua's family's faces grew increasingly grim, especially Qi Mother, whose eyes turned red. She thought of her injured daughter and how she would return home in 3 days. Moreover, she didn't want that ugly man accompanying her daughter back. She couldn't bear the shame. Director He is very busy with work and might not have time, but he will try to visit Tang Village for inspections in the future. Qi Guohua deflected again. The villagers were skeptical, but didn't press further. Once the Qi family walked away, someone quietly muttered, "No banquet, no return home, nothing at all." This director, he has quite the attitude. That's how officials are. It's worth it if they can secure a stable job. Not that he has one yet. I feel like Qi Guohua's mother has been crying. Her eyes are red. She must have cried. She probably hates to see Guochun get married. The villagers whispered among themselves and gradually dispersed. Zhou Jin, who was having tea at the captain's house, heard that Qi Guohua had returned home, so he got up to deliver something to the Qi family. "I'll accompany the 2 leaders," he said. The captain walked ahead, feeling it was his duty to go along, both out of respect and curiosity about Zhou Jin's visit to the Qi family. He had tried to ask Zhou about it earlier, but Zhou was tight-lipped, leaving him feeling anxious. "Thank you, Captain Tang," Zhou Jin said politely. "Not at all. It's the 2 leaders who are working hard," the captain replied smoothly, having hosted many officials and becoming quite skilled at small talk. On the way, the captain warned the leaders, "The Qi family's place has a strong smell right now. It's better if you don't go inside. I'll ask them to come out to talk." Zhou Jin was confused about what he meant by a strong smell. When they arrived at the Qi home, he understood. A foul odor hit them from 10 meters away, and even though he and his colleagues were battle-hardened, they couldn't stand the stench. Gunfire was just a physical attack, but this smell felt like a magical assault, overwhelming enough to make someone faint. "Captain Tang, what's going on here?" Before Zhou Jin could finish his question, a scruffy dog rushed over, stopped at the Qi family's door, squatted down, and urinated. "Get away, you filthy dog." Suddenly, Qi's mother rushed out with a hoe, swinging it at the dog. The dog, having sensed danger, quickly dodged and even spat at Qi's mother. "Why do these cursed dogs keep bothering us? Oh, heaven, please help us. We can't go on like this." Qi's mother broke down, throwing down the hoe and crying loudly, feeling hopeless and desperate. Zhou Jin glanced at a large yellow dog in the distance, admiring it. This dog seemed more impressive than the army's military dogs. The scruffy dog clearly took its cues from the yellow one. It was evident that the mess at the Qi family's door was related to this yellow dog. Is that yellow dog Tang Yanyan's? Zhou Jin asked the captain, pointing. Yes, it's the dog she raised. Very smart, even hunts wild boars, and seems to understand people well, just short of speaking. The captain praised the dog. Zhou Jin couldn't help but chuckle inwardly. Tang Yanyan and Xin Xiao were a perfect match, both petty and vengeful. What's with all this mourning? I'm still alive, so get cooking. Qi's father came out, scowling. Qi's mother fell silent, wiped her tears, and timidly went to the kitchen to cook. Seeing Zhou Jin and the others, Qi's father paused for a moment, then his face broke into a smile. Leaders, come in and sit. He called into the house, Guohua, the leaders are here. He was surely expecting the retirement payment. They were waiting for that money to pay off debts. Qi Guohua thought the same as he limped out, dragging his injured leg. I'm not going inside. I'm here mainly to deliver an official document from the army to Comrade Qi Guohua. Zhou Jin refused to enter, finding the smell unbearable. Both Qi Guohua and his father were stunned. An official document? Why wasn't it about the retirement payment? They quickly realized that even retirement required paperwork. That was the proper procedure. The commotion at the Qi family's door attracted a crowd of villagers who gathered to watch from a distance. Zhou Jin glanced at his colleague, who pulled out a red-headed document from his briefcase, held it up, and began to read it aloud. The document was brief, and he finished quickly, emphasizing the last line, expulsion of Qi Guohua from military service. Both Qi Guohua and his father were dumbfounded, unable to believe their ears, standing there in shock. The villagers erupted in chatter. Did you hear that? What does expulsion mean? It means he's kicked out of the army. They say Qi Guohua faked his medical exam and is unqualified. His 2 years of service don't count. Oh my, does that mean Qi Guohua's 2 years in the army were for nothing? The villagers grew louder, finally snapping Qi Guohua and his father out of their stupor.
Impossible.
I was clearly discharged. How can they expel me? Qi Guohua shouted, realizing that expulsion not only meant losing his retirement payment, but also left a lifelong stain on his record. Even if he Jixing arranged for him to work at a state-owned factory, this mark would ruin any chance of promotion. The army was ruthless. I served for 2 years. I may not have achievements, but I endured hardships. You can't treat me this way. I'm already disabled. You can't make it worse. The tension Qi Guohua had been holding onto broke completely, and he began to scream like a madman. Qi's father stood there like a fool, unable to say a word. Qi's mother could only cry. I've delivered the message, Comrade Qi Guohua. Here's my advice. Live honorably and without guilt. Zhou Jin's expression was serious. Those with moral issues could not remain in the army. I refuse to accept this. I will appeal to the army. I will call Director Gao. Qi Guohua didn't register Zhou Jin's words. He believed Zhou Jin was in cahoots with Xin Xiao, which explained why they had sided with Tang Yanyan during the last investigation. He needed to call Director Gao, who had always appreciated him and would surely help clear his name. Zhou Jin sneered, ignoring him, and handed the document to Qi's father before turning to leave. He was only there to inform them of Qi Guohua's expulsion. The record had already been updated, and soon it would be sent back to Zhucheng. No matter how much Qi Guohua resisted, the decision was final. Even the emperor couldn't change it. I need to make a call right now. Qi Guohua hobbled after him, slightly calmer now, not as frantic as before. Though the captain disliked him, he couldn't deny him the chance to make a call and led him to the village committee. Qi Guohua was anxious, dialing the wrong number several times before finally getting through, but he still had to go through the operator. It only took a few minutes, but for Qi Guohua, it felt like an eternity. In the 70s and 80s, long-distance calls couldn't be connected directly. You had to call the operator first, which was very cumbersome. Hello, this is Gao Aijuan. Finally, the line connected, and Director Gao's voice came through. Director Gao, this is Chi Guohua. You praised my flute playing during the New Year's performance. Do you remember me?
Ah, Xiao Cui.
You've really disappointed me. How could you cheat during the medical exam? That's unacceptable. When you return to civilian life, work hard, change your ways, and don't make the same mistakes again. Director Gao's tone became distant. He had once valued Chi Guohua and even vouched for his character, but now it felt like a harsh slap in the face. He had also been ridiculed by Ming Zhenqing, leaving him feeling humiliated. Director Gao, I'm innocent. I didn't lie. Enough.
I'm Buse.
As long as you have good skills, you can shine anywhere. Focus on learning and contribute to the country. Director Gao, feeling impatient, interrupted Chi Guohua and hung up the phone. He called the military district's operator to ensure that any further calls from Chi Guohua would not be connected. Listening to the busy signal, Chi Guohua's eyes gradually filled with despair. The once warm Director Gao, who used to call him little comrade, now felt so distant. He turned on him faster than flipping a page. Chi Guohua let out a cold laugh, then suddenly burst into loud laughter, tears streaming down his face. The captain outside felt a jolt of fear and instinctively raised his leg to run, but then realized he should just peek through the window. He saw Chi Guohua laughing with his head thrown back, and the laughter grew louder. Has he gone mad? The captain frowned, not daring to enter and provoke a madman, so he waited outside. A few minutes later, Chi Guohua finally quieted down and walked out with a dark expression. The long-distance call costs 150. When the captain asked for money, Chi Guohua rummaged through his pockets for a long time, but found not even a penny. Let it slide for now. I'll deduct it from your work points later. Chi Guohua said coldly and limped away.
Darn.
Making long-distance calls without money. The captain muttered under his breath, locked the phone and the door, and went home. The news of Chi Guohua's dismissal from the army spread faster than wings, reaching not only Tang Village, but also neighboring villages. Many girls from Tang Village, who had married into nearby villages, returned to their families to gather first-hand information and then spread the news. After all, Chi Guohua was the first person to be expelled from the army in years, bringing shame to his family. The Chi family had just begun to rise in status due to marrying off their daughter, but this incident knocked them back down. Even Chi Guohua lost confidence, lying in bed without eating or speaking, while Yang Hongling showed no concern for his well-being and scolded him daily. Worthless. Even a pig is more useful than you. After 2 years in the army, you didn't gain a penny, but brought back a bad reputation. I must have been blind to marry you, you useless piece of trash. Yang Hongling had initially hoped to share half of the severance pay, but now that was all gone. Divorce. Let's go to the commune tomorrow. You must return the 200 yuan your family borrowed from me and pay me 100 in damages. Yang Hongling kept scolding and calculating, growing more regretful. As a pure girl from the capital, marrying Chi Guohua had cost her everything, her innocence, her money, and her reputation. This marriage was a terrible loss. Yang Hongling even grew to hate Lu Jinglan, who had encouraged her to marry Chi Guohua, claiming he was a dragon among men and would achieve great things. Chi Guohua's expression was blank, his gaze vacant, ignoring Yang Hongling's insults. Are you deaf?
Didn't you hear me?
We're getting a divorce tomorrow, and you owe me 300 yuan. I must have been blind to be fooled by you. You have nothing. You're not a man in bed, and you're even worse at work. A eunuch would be better than you. Yang Hongling's voice grew louder, even attacking Chi Guohua's abilities. His silence only fueled her anger as she continued to berate him, not noticing his expression had changed.
Ah.
You dare to hit me? Yang Hongling's screams echoed, and Chi's parents outside heard them, their faces blank as they pretended not to hear. Inside, Chi Guohua grabbed Yang Hongling by the neck, his eyes cold and his grip tightening. Yang Hongling's face turned purple, her eyes filled with fear. Entering the Chi family door means only losing a wife. Chi Guohua's voice was chilling, his once handsome face twisted into something terrifying. Yang Hongling couldn't bear to look at him, filled with regret. If she had known he was insane, she would never have married him. Tomorrow, go to work. You can earn at least 8 work points a day. Write to your family and have them send money. Qi Guohua leaned down, whispering softly in Yang Hongling's ear. His voice was gentle, but it made her tremble with regret. The next day, Yang Hongling showed up, carrying a hoe, eager to take on the hardest work, hauling manure. The captain glanced at her, expressionless, and assigned her tasks. Tang Nian was no longer interested in the Qi family's affairs, as the 100-year-old dogs were keeping watch, ensuring nothing stirred. New rumors from the county said Qi Guochun had been tortured to the brink of madness by He Jisheng, whose methods were varied and cruel. At this rate, it would be a miracle if Qi Guochun lasted until the end of the month. Who would be next? Tang Nian was curious. That day, the commune leaders came to Tang village. 30 sock machines were ready, and the electricity was connected, just waiting for the leaders to inspect. Nian, how does this outfit look? Not ugly, right? Big sister-in-law, is my hair done? Can you check for me? Mom, can you get me a glass of water? I'm thirsty again. The atmosphere in the Tang household was tense because Xian Jinju was the main host for the commune leaders. The captain and Tang Nian had entrusted her with the honorable task of demonstrating how efficiently the sock machines could knit socks. Xian Jinju had resigned from the Hongxiu sock factory. As a temporary worker, she was replaceable, and her resignation didn't cause much stir. The workshop director didn't even try to keep her, secretly relieved to have an open position for someone else. As Xian Jinju prepared to welcome the leaders, she was so nervous that she didn't know where to put her hands and feet. In her 30-plus years, the highest-ranking official she had interacted with was the captain. She had never even seen the commune leaders, let alone spoken to them. You've already had 3 glasses of water. Stop drinking. You don't want to be thinking about needing to pee when you talk to the leaders. Tang Laotai glared at her, frustrated that her second daughter-in-law was so unprepared. What was there to be nervous about when meeting a leader? Just act like usual. There's nothing to worry about. Look at you, Nian even said she would let you be the workshop director. With your attitude, who could you manage? Mom, I'm just worried about making mistakes and embarrassing our family. Xian Jinju took a deep breath, realizing she felt a bit inadequate. But she couldn't just wish for confidence. Aunt, if you keep this up, I'll let someone else be the workshop director. Tang Nian threw down the gauntlet. Xian Jinju's face changed dramatically, and she instantly calmed down, standing tall with determination in her eyes. I'm not afraid. It's just a head, 2 eyes, and a mouth. What's there to fear? Tang Nian twitched her lips. If she didn't have a head, 2 eyes, and a mouth, that would be truly terrifying. Pearl, hurry up. The leaders are coming. The team leader rushed over, dressed in a Zhongshan suit he only wore for meetings at the commune. His hair was neatly combed, and he had shaved his beard. He hadn't even cared this much on his wedding day. Auntie, you'll be fine. Tang Nian encouraged Auntie Air, but her expression was blank, and her tone lacked emotion. Xian Jinju didn't feel much encouragement. After a moment of self-motivation, she followed the team leader to meet the leaders. The commune sent 5 people, including the commune secretary and the town mayor. The team leader stood at the village entrance to greet them, his heart racing and legs trembling, stretching out his hand from afar. Thank you for your hard work, leaders. Would you like some tea first? No, let's go see the sock machines directly. The commune leaders were also eager. Their commune didn't have a proper factory, and if Tang Village's sock factory could succeed, they wouldn't feel inferior when attending meetings in the county. They arrived at the cafeteria, where a sign had already been hung at the entrance, Tang Village Hongyun Sock Factory. The name was chosen by the team leader, a play on words for good fortune. As the commune leaders entered the workshop, they saw 30 sock machines arranged neatly and orderly. They nodded slightly, showing satisfaction. The team leader formally introduced Xian Jinju. She's the workshop director of Hongyun Sock Factory, with strong technical skills. Now, Comrade Xian Jinju will demonstrate our new sock machines for the leaders. Xian Jinju took a deep breath, shook hands with the leaders, her heart racing. After shaking hands with all 5 leaders, she felt like she was dreaming as she walked confidently to the sock machine to begin her demonstration. Once the machine started, Xian Jinju focused entirely on knitting socks. She relaxed and skillfully operated the machine. The leaders watched intently, and soon a finished sock emerged. She knitted a few more, her speed at least double that of ordinary sock machines. Each leader took a sock, squeezed and pulled at it, even holding it up to the light, their expressions growing more satisfied. The quality and design of the socks were impressive, and the speed was fast. Very good, Comrade Tang Manshan. You and Tang Village have done well this time. The commune's secretary praised, and the team leader couldn't hide his joy, wanting to appear modest, but unable to control the smile spreading across his face. It's all thanks to the support and guidance from the leaders. The team leader humbly deflected the praise. Lunch was arranged at the team leader's home. He and Tang Mantong accompanied the leaders. Tang Nian sent some wild rabbits and chickens over with Jiojin, but the team leader wanted her to meet the leaders, which she declined. She disliked dealing with government officials, with their formalities and hidden meanings. Even a meal would leave her feeling uneasy. After the commune leaders finished their meal, they left satisfied. The paperwork for the sock factory wouldn't be completed until next month, so during this time, Tang Nian had Xian Jinju in charge of training the workers. In the past few days, the thresholds of both the team leaders and Tang's homes had nearly been worn down by villagers visiting. They came bearing gifts, mostly eggs, to support the sock factory. Tang Nian had informed her family that they couldn't accept anything, not even a single vegetable. Grandma Tang enforced this strictly, returning everything that was brought. My granddaughter Nian said there will be a fair selection. We only want those willing to work hard. We don't want anyone lazy or gossiping. Grandma Tang always said this when returning gifts. Aunt San said the same thing, just changing it to my son, Manshan said. In fact, the hiring list for the sock factory was mostly set. Tang Nian hadn't given specific names, but had provided a detailed list of those not to hire. Aunt San, these families are not allowed in the sock factory. Tang Nian's list was thorough. Besides Qiguohua's family, there were 15 households.
Why?
The team leader glanced at the list. It was normal for Qiguohua's family to be excluded, but why the other 15? These 3 families had arguments with my grandma and spoke ill of her behind her back. The other 12 said I was not innocent when I fell into the river. Tang Nian had strong reasons, but some of the grudges from her past life were carried into this one. The 3 families that argued with Grandma Tang were real grievances. Regardless of who was right or wrong, she wanted to stand up for her grandmother. The team leader's mouth twitched. He felt a bit envious of Grandma Tang. How nice it was to have such a protective granddaughter. All right, we won't take these people. The team leader agreed. The 15 families excluded by Nian were indeed not great, either fence-sitters, selfish, or lazy, and he didn't like them either. The village committee office, long abandoned, was now brightly lit every day, staying open until 9 at night. The team leader gathered the village accountant, scorekeepers, women's director, and other officials for a Tang village meeting focused on the sock factory hiring issue. After 3 days of discussions, the list was finally confirmed. Xian Jinju and Su Jinfeng were definitely included, along with the team leader's daughter, Tang Hongxing. The remaining employees were mostly young married women and young men. The reason was simple. Girls would eventually marry and shouldn't learn skills that could benefit other villages. Thus, the team leader hired only married women under 30 and young men, all quick and capable, with a high talent for knitting socks. The machines never rested. Each sock machine required 2 operators. Once the list was finalized, it was posted at the sock factory entrance on red paper with black ink, beautifully written by the village accountant. Besides the 60 machine operators, there were also positions for finishers, packers, and helpers, totaling about a dozen, both male and female. With more applicants than positions, the posting brought joy to some and disappointment to others. Those selected were happy, while those not chosen frowned. Some families even complained, saying the team leader was acting like a bureaucrat, and rumors spread quickly. However, the team leader swiftly suppressed the gossip. He stated, "The sock factory will definitely expand. We might have 100 or 200 machines. Our village's people won't be enough, and we'll need to recruit from other villages." To those spreading rumors today, I'll give you one more chance. If I hear anyone gossiping again, don't blame me for being ruthless. As long as I'm the team leader, these people will never work in the factory. With that, the gossip ceased immediately. Even the village's biggest gossip fell silent. Tang Nian was very pleased with the team leader's decisive actions. Her third uncle had a strong leadership presence. April 28, 1976. The Tang Village Hongyun sock factory officially opened. The team leader personally lit a string of firecrackers that exploded with a deafening sound. Amidst the noise, the machines at the Hongyun sock factory roared to life, and the 30 trained operators began to weave socks. The raw materials were provided by Tang Nian through her friend, and she also covered the costs. Once the first batch of socks was produced and sold, she would receive her share of the profits. During this time, Zhou Siren kept bothering her, but Tang Nian didn't give him a pleasant response. However, she was somewhat grateful to him. If the Zhou family hadn't sent him over early, she wouldn't have known about the treasure buried by her ancestors in Tang Village. Tang Nian planned to visit Hu City in June, so before that, she intended to deal with Lu Jinglan and Tang Wujin. News came from the farm that Tang Wujin had registered her marriage with He Guoqing. He Guoqing was unwilling, but Tang Wujin insisted, and to keep her working, he had no choice but to agree. Woof. That shameless female youth is going to report the old man to the commune. That day, Bai Sui rushed over with the latest news. In its words, Lu Jinglan was the shameless female youth, and the old man referred to Zhang Lao and Deng Chongsheng. Tang Nian originally planned to confront Tang Wujin and He Guoqing at the farm, but now she had to deal with Lu Jinglan first. At the youth point, Lu Jinglan didn't work that day. She was preparing to submit a report to the commune, claiming that Zhang Lao still had connections overseas. Since she couldn't get Zhang Lao's help, she decided to ruin him. She knew Zhang Lao had studied abroad, which would be a strong reason, and she secretly placed an English letter on his bed, written with her left hand. It had no beginning or end, and the sentences were not even coherent. But as long as it was in English, it would be enough. Zhang Lao already wore a hat, and with such a letter suddenly appearing in his home, if she reported him afterward, he wouldn't be able to recover. Tang Nian sent Bai Sui to the back mountain, where Zhang Lao and Deng Chongsheng were tending to the cattle, and they recognized Bai Sui. Bai Sui is here.
Hey.
What did Nian girl ask you to say? Deng Chongsheng took a note from Bai Sui's mouth, glanced at it, and his expression turned serious. Old Zhang, hurry back inside. Deng Chongsheng and Zhang Lao quickly walked back to the cattle shed, closed the door, and had Bai Sui find the English letter. Bai Sui soon found it under the bedding. The English was poorly written and incoherent, making Zhang Lao feel both amused and sad. Lu Jinglan, being so uneducated and with bad intentions, could cause trouble for him and Deng, and even drag Nian girl into it. Burn all these newspapers just in case. Deng Chongsheng decisively took out all the newspapers and stuffed them into the stove, setting them ablaze. The milk powder and malt extract weren't a problem. Deng Chongsheng had contacted relatives in Hu City, so they could say it was sent by family. Bai Sui completed the task, nodded at the two elders, and ran down the mountain like the wind. I wonder how Nian girl is doing. She should be fine, right?
Zhang Lao mu tờ wo thì đen.
Of course, she's very clever. Don't worry. Deng Chongsheng reassured his old friend, also comforting himself. Tang Nian didn't stop Lu Jinglan from going to the commune. As soon as the woman left, she sneaked into the youth point and slipped a book titled The Heart of a Girl, also known as Manna's Memoirs, under Lu Jinglan's bedding. This book was something she found at the recycling station. It was tattered and missing several pages, but the crucial ones were intact. In fact, Tang Nian thought it was quite modest compared to some writings from later years. But given that it was the 1970s, Even holding hands was considered inappropriate. This book dared to write about kissing and intimate actions between men and women, which was utterly scandalous. After finishing her task, Tang Nian climbed over the wall and strolled confidently around the village, waiting for Lu Jinglan to return with people. 2 hours later, Lu Jinglan came back alone, saying that someone from the commune would come in the afternoon, and that old Zhang Xueqing would soon be in trouble. Since he didn't appreciate her kindness, she wouldn't hold back. Not long after finishing lunch, a group of people stormed into Tang Village, prompting someone to rush to inform the team leader. The team leader was inspecting the factory when he heard about the arrival of the tail-cutting group and was startled, quickly running out to greet them. "Are you leaders here to inspect the work?" The team leader smiled and offered a cigarette. "There's a report that the 2 old men in your team are restless and have connections overseas." The leading man spoke politely, but his eyes looked down on the team leader. "Surely not. They've always behaved themselves. I visit them occasionally to educate them. They recite quotes daily and submit their reflections to me. Should I get them for you to see?" The team leader cursed silently, thinking if he found out who reported them, he would definitely make them pay. "Take us there first." The man didn't show any courtesy. The reporting female comrade said that the team leader of Tang Village had a close relationship with those 2 old men, and many people in the village supported them, with a girl named Tang Nian as their representative. The flustered team leader broke into a sweat, his heart racing. Others might not know, but he was aware that Deng Changsheng and Zhang Lao had been enjoying life recently with newspapers and milk powder, all funded by Nian Girl. If these people saw that, he wouldn't be able to explain himself no matter how much he talked. Tang Nian appeared, glancing at the team leader, who immediately felt reassured. "Leaders, let me take you there. Don't worry, if those 2 really refuse to repent, I will definitely support your work." The team leader, no longer anxious, spoke confidently and took the lead. Lu Jinglan also came out. She wanted to witness the results of her actions and see those 2 old men fall into trouble. A large group marched toward the back mountain, where Zhang Lao and Deng Changsheng were ready, calmly tending to the cattle. Seeing so many people, the 2 elders pretended to be surprised, then lowered their heads, arms hanging down, acting very obedient. "Hello, leaders." Zhang Lao and Deng Changsheng greeted them, their backs hunched. The group went straight in, rummaging through the house and making a mess, spilling milk powder and malt extract everywhere. "Where did these things come from?" the leading man asked. "Report to the leaders. They were sent by my son from the city," Deng Changsheng replied calmly, even taking out the package slip, which indeed showed it was sent from her city. "Why is this blanket so thick?" A man picked up the blanket, intending to shake it out, but couldn't. His expression turned unfriendly. "Report, leader. I'm old and can't stand the cold. My son sent it to me. Where did this meat come from?" Another person noticed some salted meat hanging by the stove and asked aggressively. "Report, leader. It was hunted in the mountains. The cow shed was small, and there wasn't much inside. They searched thoroughly, even scraping the ground, but found nothing. Aside from these 2 old folks having relatively good living conditions, there were no other suspicious items. However, they couldn't deny people their milk powder and malt extract. The order only mentioned labor reform, not starving during it. Do your reform well, and remember the fine tradition of hard work and simplicity." The leading man was a bit angry and scolded them harshly. Zhang Lao and Deng Changsheng listened obediently and replied in unison, "Thank you for your guidance. We will remember it." "Leaders, I said they were behaving well. I have their quotes and insights. Would you like to take a look?" The team leader felt relieved. "We'll look at it later." These people didn't find what they wanted and felt downcast. They also grew resentful towards the informant, feeling their time was wasted. They had walked several miles and would have to walk back empty-handed. Lu Jinglan, hidden in the crowd, was anxious. How could there be nothing? She had hidden something under the bedding yesterday afternoon while the 2 old folks were out. How could it be gone? Could the 2 old folks have discovered it? Lu Jinglan gritted her teeth. It was unfortunate that she failed, but it was okay. She would report again next time. As a group reached the foot of the mountain, A clear voice rang out. It was Tang Nianyan. Report, leader. I inform you that Lu Jinglan from the youth station is secretly reading obscene books. The team leader gasped. This girl dared to say anything. Leader, I don't know much about the youth station. I only manage their work. I can't control if they are behaving inappropriately. The team leader quickly distanced himself from the situation. The group's spirits lifted. It didn't matter who it was as long as there was a lead. Leader, Tang Nianyan, and I have personal grudges. She is deliberately slandering me. Lu Jinglan shouted in protest, but inside she panicked. That wretched girl must have done something in her room. Whether it's slander or not, we'll know when we check. The group didn't care about that. Their recent performance had been poor, and director He Jisheng was very dissatisfied, even criticizing them in meetings. They had to achieve results this time. The group marched towards the youth station, and the villagers were excited. They wanted to see what obscene books looked like. Lu Jinglan spotted Yang Hongling in the crowd and desperately signaled her to hurry to her room to check for any messy items. But Yang Hongling seemed oblivious, her expression indifferent, ignoring Lu Jinglan's gaze. Lu Jinglan's heart sank as she returned to the youth station, secretly praying nothing would be found. She lived alone in a small room. The door was smashed open, and everything inside was thrown on the floor. Her clothes were tossed around and trampled. Lu Jinglan felt both angry and ashamed. She hadn't expected this outcome. Did Tang Nianyan have someone watching her? Otherwise, how could that girl retaliate so quickly? Lu Jinglan even suspected that the reason nothing was found in the cow shed was that Tang Nianyan had tipped off the two old folks.
Bang!
A tattered book fell to the ground. Someone picked it up, saw the cover, and shouted, "Found it. It's definitely an obscene book." Those in this line of work were very familiar with the heart of a young girl and recognized it immediately. I didn't read it. This book isn't mine. I read quotes every day and take notes. Lu Jinglan rushed over like a madwoman, trying to pull open the drawer to find her old notes, to prove she was always studying. This is my notebook. Look, I take notes every day. In her panic, Lu Jinglan found a notebook in the drawer, but didn't notice it was new. She opened it and showed it to them. The leading man glanced at it, his expression changed, and he became furious. Good. Not only reading obscene books, but also foreign enemy literature. Arrest her. The notebook was filled with messy foreign writing. Although the group couldn't understand it, they knew foreign writing meant overseas connections. Lu Jinglan was definitely colluding with foreign enemies. Lu Jinglan's heart sank. She pulled back the notebook, glanced at it, and felt darkness closing in. How could it be English? Where was her notebook? Lu Jinglan could no longer stay calm. She knew that finding these two items in her room meant trouble, and she had to find a way to save herself. She looked into the crowd and saw Zhou Siren. Her eyes lit up. Maybe Zhou Siren would help her? As long as the Zhou family intervened, this would be a small matter. Zhou Siren avoided her gaze, his expression indifferent. His relationship with Lu Jinglan wasn't that close. Moreover, Tang Nianyan had already misunderstood his relationship with Lu Jinglan and needed to distance himself. The light in Lu Jinglan's eyes dimmed instantly, her heart feeling like ashes. Take her away. The group handcuffed Lu Jinglan's arm and left excitedly. The team leader stood with his mouth agape, not reacting until they were far away. How did it turn out like this? But it was better to get rid of Lu Jinglan. She had ill intentions, and keeping her in Tang Village was a risk. Feeling pleased, the team leader realized this and glanced meaningfully at Tang Nianyan. It must have been her doing. Well done. You are here to support rural construction. You must improve your thinking, memorize more quotes, listen to broadcasts, and don't cause any more trouble. The team leader lectured the youth, pretending to be serious. The youth promised they wouldn't misbehave. They were also relieved they had distanced themselves from Lu Jinglan early on. Otherwise, they would have been in trouble too. What are you all standing around for? Do you think food will fall from the sky? Don't you need to work? The team leader turned to the onlookers and scolded them, causing the crowd to disperse quickly until no one was left. Only Tang Nianyan remained, seemingly the most idle. Nianyan, are you? Never mind. I'm going to the sock factory. The team leader started to say something, but changed his mind. Some things didn't need to be clarified as long as the outcome was beneficial for Tang Village. Third uncle, the informant is Lu Jinglan. Tang Nian said coldly. The team leader's expression changed. No wonder those people suddenly came over. Darn it, Lu Jinglan really is a jinx. Thankfully, that girl dealt with her. The team leader cursed as he walked away. Lu Jinglan's life or death was no longer his concern, and he didn't want to deal with it. His main focus now was the sock factory. Before the factory opened, he worried it wouldn't succeed. Now that the sock factory was running and producing 3,000 to 4,000 pairs of socks daily, he was worried about selling them, so much so that he had blisters in his mouth. Nian girl, can we really sell our socks? The team leader walked a few steps, then turned back. He had asked this question over and over, and it was starting to annoy Tang Nian. They won't sell.
Tang Nian ziplit iditabili.
She used to say it would be fine, but the team leader didn't believe her. So, she decided to say something different. The team leader's face went pale, and he fell straight back. Tang Nian was startled and quickly caught him. His face was as white as a sheet, and he looked lost, which made her feel a bit guilty. If she had known her uncle was so timid, she wouldn't have said the opposite. No problem, they will definitely sell. You can relax. Tang Nian leaned close to the team leader's ear and shouted. She was afraid if she didn't shout loud enough, he wouldn't hear her and would stay lost. The team leader's spirit did return, but his ears were buzzing from the noise. I heard you. Why are you yelling? I'm not deaf. The team leader shouted back, raising his voice because of the buzzing in his ears. Tang Nian rolled her eyes. His hearing was fine, but he was very timid, just like her second uncle. Both were cowards. Can we really sell them? Nian girl, when can we sell? If they just sit in the warehouse, it makes me anxious. The team leader was both excited and worried. All the investment in the sock factory came from Nian. He was afraid they wouldn't sell, and Nian would lose her money. The total assets of Tang Village wouldn't be enough to cover the loss. Uncle, the factory has only been running for a few days. Why are you so anxious? Isn't my uncle in the city looking for customers? If that doesn't work, there are so many people in the commune. If everyone buys one pair, that would be enough. Tang Nian patiently reassured him. In this planned economy, where supply was less than demand, as long as they could produce something, they wouldn't have to worry about selling it. The socks from the supply and marketing cooperative were 2 yuan a pair, and if Tang Village sold them cheaper, many people would want them. The team leader's eyes lit up.
Right.
So many people in the commune need socks. Nian girl, should we send someone to sell them now?
Not yet.
Let's wait for my uncle to come back and see what he says. Tang Nian wasn't interested in retail. It was too much trouble. They needed to focus on wholesale. However, Uncle, there's no need to send anyone out to sell. Just put up a notice at the factory entrance saying it's a grand opening sale. Out of respect for the villagers, the socks will be 0.9 yuan a pair for 6 days. After that, the price will go up to 1.1 yuan. Tang Nian suggested that instead of sending people out to sell, it would be better to have customers come to buy. The team leader's eyes sparkled with excitement as he looked at Tang Nian, as if she were a god of wealth. Nian girl, how did you come up with this idea? No wonder you always get perfect scores on tests. I'll have someone write the notice and announce it on the loudspeaker. The team leader praised her and rushed to take action, but Tang Nian stopped him. Uncle, you need to assign a reliable person to watch the workshop. Don't let anyone steal socks to take home. I heard from my second aunt that when she worked at a factory, people would steal socks every day. The team leader's expression turned serious. This was indeed a problem. But who could he trust to keep an eye on things? Uncle, I don't avoid family when choosing capable people. My grandma is perfect for this. Tang Nian suggested her grandmother for the job, as she worked hard every day and should supervise the factory instead. The team leader hesitated, worried about being accused of favoritism by hiring family. Uncle, no matter who you assign, they'll have their own interests. Only my grandma doesn't because I own half the factory. She will definitely keep a close watch. Not a single thread will go missing. Tang Nian easily convinced the team leader. Everyone else would have their own motives, even his wife couldn't be trusted, but Grandma Tang was reliable. As long as she knew half the factory was theirs, her watchful eyes would be sharper than radar. The team leader nodded. It made sense. Then, how much should we pay her? 18 yuan a month. If the factory expands later, we can increase it. The team leader agreed and hurried off. Before long, the village loudspeaker crackled to life, and the villagers working in the fields looked up, ready to listen. Hello, hello. The team leader tested the loudspeaker before announcing. The factory is having a grand opening sale. Each pair is 0.9 yuan. The supply and marketing cooperative sells them for 1.2 yuan, but this sale lasts for 6 days. If you want to buy, come to the factory quickly. The team leader repeated the announcement 3 times and then turned off the loudspeaker. The villagers were excited. Socks for 0.9 yuan a pair were a great deal, and they rushed to inform their friends and family to come buy socks. I need to tell my sister. I'll go tell my aunt. I'll call my relatives in the city and see if they want me to buy a few pairs for them. The villagers lost interest in working. Socks for 0.9 yuan a pair were a rare find. They worried it might be a false message, so they rushed to the sock factory to check. They saw the big red notice at the factory entrance, written in black on red paper, confirming the price of 0.9 yuan a pair. The team leader and the accountant even set up a table and chairs at the entrance to sell socks, with a box of colorful nylon socks at their feet. Starting today, for 6 days, it's 0.9 yuan a pair. Hurry if you want to buy. The team leader cheerfully called out, opening a pack of socks to show their elasticity and thickness, proving their good quality. I'm going home to get money. The villagers couldn't sit still any longer and rushed home to grab money. Some bought 1 pair, while others bought 2. The team leader handed out socks, and the accountant kept track of the sales, both busy as bees. Usually, these villagers complained about being poor, but when it came to this, their purchasing power was impressive. In no time, they sold over 100 pairs, and the team leader was grinning from ear to ear. That evening, during dinner at the Tang family, Tang Nian shared the news about Grandma Tang becoming the supervisor. Clatter! A pair of chopsticks fell to the table. They belonged to Grandma Tang. I'm going to work? And earning 18 yuan? Nian girl, really? Grandma Tang's eyes sparkled with excitement, forgetting about the rabbit meat that fell on the floor, staring at Tang Nian eagerly. Really? You start tomorrow. Grandma, you have to keep an eye on those workers just like you do with our rice. I own half the factory, Tang Nian joked. I'll definitely keep a close watch. My eyes are sharper than an eagle's. Nothing will go missing. Grandma Tang beamed with joy, slapping her thigh in assurance. Who would have thought that at her age, she could still be a worker?
Haha.
Grandma Tang wanted to laugh out loud but held it in after thinking about it. She was going to be the supervisor, so she had to keep a low profile and not get carried away. After calming down, Grandma Tang picked up the rabbit meat from the ground, blew on it, and was about to put it in her mouth. But when it got close, she stopped, got up, and went to the kitchen to wash it. She had to maintain her image as a supervisor and couldn't eat things off the ground. At that moment, Grandma Tang walked slowly, unlike her usual brisk pace. Now she walked like a young lady taking a stroll, taking her time from the kitchen to the dining table, which was only a few meters away, taking 3 to 4 minutes, more awkward than an elderly woman with bound feet. Grandma, did you get a blister on your foot? The little girl, Jean, was straightforward and looked concerned at her grandmother's feet. Grandma Tang's expression changed slightly, and she shot a glare at her granddaughter before quickening her pace back to her seat to eat. Although she tried hard to keep a low profile, the corners of her mouth had a mind of their own and kept lifting. Tang Nian found it hilarious. Her little grandma was too easily satisfied. If her salary went up to 30 yuan, wouldn't Grandma be over the moon? The next morning, Grandma Tang reported to the factory and the team leader personally handed her the work ID. Supervisor of Hongyun Sock Factory, Comrade Zhang Manue. Comrade Zhang Manue, everything is up to you. The team leader's expression was serious, as if he were handing over a throne. Don't worry, I'm on the job. Grandma Tang stood tall, her voice booming, more determined than a party oath. When the villagers learned that Grandma Tang was working at the factory, there were some rumors, but nothing too dramatic. After all, the factory was running thanks to Tang Nian Nian. It made sense for family members to work there, so there was nothing to complain about. Everyone just envied Grandma Tang's good fortune. How did she raise such a successful granddaughter? In the blink of an eye, it was May, and the weather warmed up, allowing them to work in light clothing. The sock factory was thriving these days, with people from nearby villages coming to buy socks. Some bought dozens of pairs at a time. Tang Nian Nian knew they intended to sell them in the city. Even if they sold for just 1 yuan a pair, they could make a profit of 10 cents. Selling 10 pairs a day would earn them a yuan, which was much better than earning work points. If they were clever, selling 20 pairs a day would be easy. So she suggested to the team leader, set a wholesale price, starting from 10 pairs, no credit. After a meeting, they set the wholesale price at 80 cents per pair and 75 cents for orders over 100 pairs. Tang Nian Nian didn't handle the specifics. The team leader and Tang Mantong took care of that. Moreover, Tang Mantong had good news too. He had negotiated partnerships with several supply and marketing cooperatives. This meant the warehouse's stock of socks wouldn't be enough, and they would need to work overtime. The workers in the factory were not unhappy because they were paid by piecework. The more they worked, the more they earned. They even hoped to work overtime every day, as a good month could earn them 40 to 50 yuan, more than the wages of state-owned enterprises. The sock factory was flourishing, and Tang Nian Nian didn't worry too much. She planned to buy 20 more sock machines once the orders stabilized. She intended to visit the farm since Lu Jinglan had been taken away and sent for reform the next day. The news she gathered was that Lu Jinglan specifically wanted to see Zhou Siren, claiming she had important matters to discuss. Zhou Siren met with her, but Bai Sui didn't hear what they talked about. Afterward, Zhou Siren made a phone call, and the matter with Lu Jinglan was quickly set aside, sending her off for reform. Tang Nian Nian suspected it had something to do with treasure. Zhou Siren was obsessed with the Tang family's treasure, and since Lu Jinglan was reborn, she might know something. This woman had been at the farm for 3 days, and Tang Nian Nian was concerned about Tang Wujin's current mental state. She wanted to check on him and add some fuel to the fire. That day, breakfast at the Tang house was particularly lavish. Ever since Grandma Tang became the supervisor, her cooking had become generous. Today, everyone had a big bowl of stir-fried rice cakes with vegetables and a fried egg. Tang Nian Nian had 2 soft-boiled eggs.
Eat.
Grandma Tang commanded grandly, and the whole family started eating. Grandma, are we living too well? Tang Nian Nian teased, recalling how they used to have rice soup with rice cakes and had to add sweet potatoes. Besides her, the Tang family had hardly ever eaten dry food in the mornings. Today, Grandma Tang looked like she had struck gold. If you don't eat, give it to me. Grandma Tang shot her a glare, annoyed that this stubborn girl wouldn't stop talking. Now she was a supervisor earning 18 yuan a month. Could she really be stingy with food? Grandma, will we eat like this every meal? Tang Jiujin was the happiest. She felt so lucky every day, eating dry food and meat at every meal. All the kids in Tang village combined weren't as happy as she was. Today, she planned to gather an extra bundle of firewood. Do you want to eat firewood cakes every meal? Grandma Tang rolled her eyes, and Jiujin quickly lowered her head, sticking out her tongue at Tang Nian Nian with a grin. Su Jinfeng, Tang Manjin, and Xian Jinju all laughed, feeling that their current life was like being in a honey jar, something they never even dared to dream of before. After breakfast, everyone busily went to work. Each person was now very busy. The women went to the sock factory, Tang Manjin went to work, and Jiujin went to the mountains to gather pigweed. Only Tang Nian Nian had the most free time. She sat in the house for a while, preparing to head to the farm, but first, she needed to give the key to Grandma Tang. To get to the sock factory, she had to pass through the fields where the village men were working. She could hear their voices from afar. Manjin, you're the only one left at home. Why didn't Yen girl arrange a job for you? The questioner was joking, but there was a hint of malice in his tone. Others joined in, implying that Tang Nian didn't care about her father and made Tang Manjin do hard labor every day, which was unfilial. Stop talking nonsense. Nian girl is the most filial. I only know how to farm. I don't know anything about factory work. What could I do there? Tang Manjin was unhappy, his honest face darkening. The family was now eating dry food every day, with meat at every meal. All thanks to Nian girl. These people were just envious, as his father said, suffering from red-eye disease, unable to stand seeing his family live well. Moreover, his mother had told him that there were 3 women and Mantong working at the factory, so he needed to take it slow with his work. Otherwise, there would be gossip in the village. Tang Manjin didn't want to work anyway. He loved farming. Watching the crops grow from seedlings to harvest brought him immense joy. And with everyone working, who would farm the land? If no one farmed, where would the food come from? Tang Manjin's thoughts were very simple. He had no other skills, just farming, so he focused on doing it well and didn't think about unrealistic things. When others saw that Tang Manjin was angry, they dared not mention it again and awkwardly changed the subject. They couldn't afford to offend the Tang family now, as they were hoping to work at the sock factory after its expansion. Smoke. Tang Manjin took out a pack of Glory cigarettes, priced at 32 cents a pack, and shared them with those around him, saying on purpose, "My daughter bought these." Your daughter is really filial. These cigarettes are quite expensive. You are lucky, Manjin. Everyone chimed in with flattery, though their expressions were somewhat awkward. Even though they were smoking high-end cigarettes they usually couldn't afford, it felt uncomfortable knowing the Tang family's living standards had surpassed theirs by a lot. When would they have a daughter as successful as Tang Nian? Tang Nian smiled slightly. In reality, her relationship with Tang Manjin and his wife was just okay. Since she was little, she had been raised by the elderly couple who took care of all her needs. However, Tang Manjin was a genuinely honest man, straightforward and obedient, devoted to hard work. Unlike Su Jinfeng, who had some hidden thoughts and had said some sour words in front of Tang Wujin's sisters when they were young. But Su Jinfeng was timid and not malicious. Her little thoughts were within Tang Nian's tolerance. Moreover, with Tang Manjin around, Su Jinfeng couldn't cause much trouble. In her past life, Tang Manjin and his wife didn't have a good ending either. Su Jinfeng became pregnant at an old age and, after a tragedy involving Jiu Jin, suffered a setback. She bled heavily during childbirth and passed away. Tang Laotai also fell ill, and Tang Manjin wanted to earn more money to buy nutrition for her. When he went to repair the reservoir, he wasn't notified to evacuate and died in an explosion. Tang Nian's expression turned cold. In this life, the Tang family must live well. She didn't want to walk to the sock factory again, so she went to the fields and handed the keys to Tang Manjin. Is Nian going to the city again? Nian is getting more beautiful. I love your clothes. How much did they cost? Both men and women gathered around, their tones flattering and eager to please. 30-something. Just going to take care of some business in the city. Tang Nian was wearing a trench coat with a shirt underneath. In this weather, it was just right, not too hot or too cold. Everyone gasped. A piece of clothing costing 30-something could buy 60 to 70 pounds of meat. Was this outfit woven by a fairy? They also noticed the shiny leather shoes on Tang Nian's feet, clearly new and made of cowhide, costing at least $18. And the electronic watch on her wrist looked high-end, worth dozens of dollars at the department store. Everyone calculated in their heads and gasped again. Wow, her entire outfit must cost over 100. Even the commune secretary didn't have such expensive clothes. Nian, when will our sock factory expand? Someone asked.
Soon.
Tang Nian didn't give a specific date, but estimated that with the current sales speed, the expansion would happen in about 3 months. Everyone immediately cheered. As long as the sock factory expanded, they would have a chance to work and earn wages. The nearby educated youth were extremely envious and couldn't help but send a representative to ask, Comrade Tang Nian, can the educated youth work at the sock factory? Once the factory expands, There will definitely be more positions available. It will be fair competition, and everyone will have a chance. Tang Nian had already considered the educated youth. The current group from Tang village was quite reliable and had decent education levels. Once the sock factory grew, they wouldn't just hire operators. They would also need some educated individuals for sales, and these educated youth would be backup candidates. She remembered that these educated youth returned to the city quite late, clearly because their families were struggling. It would be better for them to stay at the sock factory and shine. The educated youth were thrilled. Although it wasn't a definite answer, as long as they were given a fair chance to compete, they were confident. If they could work at the sock factory, they wouldn't be in a hurry to return to the city, where they might not even find jobs. In the past 2 years, some educated youth returned to the city due to illness, and they ended up without jobs, becoming unemployed at home. They wrote letters saying they regretted it, staying home, and being looked down upon by their own parents. If they had known, they would have preferred to stay in Tang village, where they could at least eat every day and not face disdain from their families. In the 70s and 80s, there were very few job openings in the city, and many returning educated youth became unemployed. Zhou Siren jogged over, holding a large bunch of rhododendrons he had picked from the mountains. He had heard that Tang Nian loved rhododendrons. He also heard that Tang Nian had a jade gourd that could boost energy and improve health. This was the secret that Lu Jinglan had revealed to him in exchange for her safety. Zhou Siren was half convinced, but still worked to help Lu Jinglan get a position at the farm. Once he confirmed the truth of the secret, he would arrange for her to return to the capital and even find her a job. This was the condition Lu Jinglan had set for exchanging secrets, and he agreed. Zhou Siren was determined to win Tang Nian over. He not only wanted her, but also her heart. So, after breakfast, he went to the mountains to pick rhododendrons, planning to present them to Tang Nian in front of the villagers. Girls loved such special treatment, and he had tried it before with great success. Tang Nian, these are the rhododendrons I picked just for you, your favorite flowers. Just as Tang Nian was about to turn and leave, she bumped into the large bunch of rhododendrons and heard an annoying voice. The bright red rhododendrons were beautiful, but the person holding them made her fists clench. Zhou Siren flashed what he thought was a charming smile, his eyes full of affection, and said, Tang Nian, I really like you. I'm serious. Can we consider dating? I've even mentioned you in letters to my family. They like you too, and want me to bring you back to the capital to meet them. The villagers stopped working, their mouths agape in shock.
Wow.
This young man from the capital actually wanted to take Nian to the city? They had heard that Zhou Siren's family had a powerful background, with parents who were high officials. The villagers didn't doubt it, as Zhou Siren's demeanor clearly showed he wasn't from an ordinary family. Everyone envied Tang Nian even more. If she really married Zhou Siren, she would soar to great heights. What incredible luck! Several aunts with daughters of suitable age wished they could introduce their girls to Zhou Siren. But they only dared to think about it in their hearts, knowing their daughters couldn't compare to Nian. Zhou Siren would surely overlook them. Zhou Siren's affectionate gaze, directed through the rhododendrons, only made Tang Nian angrier. She raised her hand, ready to throw a punch. But someone moved faster than her. It was Tang Manjin. The honest man was now filled with rage. With a dark face, he stepped in front of Tang Nian and pushed Zhou Siren away. Zhou Siren was caught off guard and stumbled back several steps, almost falling. His master's temper flared up, and he raised his hand to hit someone, but upon seeing it was Tang Manjin, he lowered it. After all, the other party was the father of his beloved, so he had to be polite. Uncle, I really like Tang Nian. I sincerely want to marry her. Please give me a chance. Zhou Siren spoke earnestly, but Tang Manjin became even angrier and swung a punch. Chance? You shameless scoundrel. You're ruining my daughter's reputation. I'll beat you to death. In a fit of rage, Tang Manjin used both hands and feet, ready to teach this scoundrel a lesson. He didn't believe Zhou Siren was genuinely interested in dating Nian. Making a scene in public like this was damaging to her reputation. Regardless of whether Nian Nian agreed or not, people would say she was flirtatious and chasing after men. If Zhou Siren truly had good intentions, he should have sent a matchmaker to propose, not pull a stunt like this, thinking he could win her over with a handful of worthless wildflowers. How shameless. Tang Manjin was strong, but not as tall as Zhou Siren, and he wasn't a fighter. He initially had the upper hand, but once Zhou Siren regained his composure, he quickly subdued him. After all, Zhou Siren had some training and was more than capable of handling Tang Manjin. Uncle, stop. I really like her. Zhou Siren was impatient. This rural bumpkin didn't understand anything. He had already explained himself, yet the man kept clinging to him. If it weren't for Tang Nian Nian's sake, he would have knocked this bumpkin's teeth out long ago. A delicate white hand grabbed Zhou Siren's wrist, rendering him immobile. It was Tang Nian Nian. Step aside. Tang Nian Nian told Tang Manjin to move away. She wanted to handle this herself. Tang Manjin obediently stepped aside, grabbing a hoe from the field to return. If this scoundrel dared to lay a hand on Nian Nian, he would swing the hoe. Nian Nian. Zhou Siren, still unaware of the situation, thought Tang Nian Nian had feelings for him too and smiled, calling her name in a very familiar way.
Ah.
What are you doing, Tang Nian Nian? Zhou Siren's smile vanished as a punch landed on his face. Tang Nian Nian threw another punch, and despite Zhou Siren's training and height, he couldn't last more than 10 moves against her.
Can't you see?
I'm teaching you a lesson, you arrogant fool. Who do you think you are? What does your like even mean? You think just because you bring a handful of flowers and say some cheap words of affection, I'll be surprised and agree? Do you think you're so special that everyone should like you? Tang Nian Nian hit and kicked without holding back. Under her pressure, Zhou Siren had no power to fight back, only able to protect his head and avoid serious injury. Tang Nian Nian, I really like you. Even if you're not interested, you don't need to resort to violence. Zhou Siren gritted his teeth in anger, his feelings for her fading quickly. Although Tang Nian Nian was beautiful, her temper was fierce, and he couldn't handle someone so violent. Do you dare say you didn't have bad intentions with a stunt? Zhou Siren, you know very well that confessing in front of so many people, regardless of the outcome, will lead people to say I, Tang Nian Nian, am frivolous and restless. I may not care about my reputation, but I hate being schemed against. You've crossed a line. Tang Nian Nian saw through Zhou Siren's insidious motives. Even in a more open society decades later, if a boy proposed in public, people would cheer for the girl to accept, saying it's rare to find someone who truly loves her. But does such a boy really love the girl? Not at all. They are morally coercing her, enjoying the spotlight while putting her in a difficult position. Even if they fail, they lose nothing, while the girl faces judgment. Tang Nian Nian despised this kind of coercion. Moreover, it was still the conservative 1970s. If she hadn't experienced the apocalypse and were just an ordinary girl of this era, Zhou Siren might have forced her to comply.
Jerk.
Just as disgusting as Chiguohua. The more Tang Nian Nian thought about it, the angrier she became, her punches turning into blurs. Zhou Siren was beaten to the point where he couldn't even speak. By the time Grandma Tang and the others arrived, furious, Zhou Siren was already on the ground, bruised and battered, his once handsome face now swollen and misshapen. I'll beat you, you filthy scoundrel. Who do you think you are? Look at yourself. Do you think you're worthy of my granddaughter? You earn a measly 130 a month?
You don't even have a job.
How dare you? Grandma Tang, lacking any proper weapon, resorted to kicking Zhou Siren several times. Shameless dog. Can't even earn 130 and still wants to marry her granddaughter? Grandma, here. Tan Jujin also arrived, immediately handing over a thick firewood stick. With the stick in hand, Grandma Tang stood tall, swinging it as if it could fly. Xian Jinju and Su Jinfeng joined in, kicking and pinching, leaving Zhou Siren with no choice but to protect his head and dodge. If Tang Mantong had been in the village, his explosive temper would have surely broken Zhou Siren's legs. In the end, it was the late-arriving team leader who stepped in to stop the Tang family. If they continued, Zhou Siren would truly be done for. Zhou Jiqing, the country sent you here to support the construction of Tang Village. Look at what you've done. You've only worked 2 days and earned just 5 work points. The 60-some old ladies in the village earn more than you. If you keep slacking off, I'll apply to the commune to send you back. Our Tang village can't afford a young master from the capital. The team leader spoke sternly. He didn't care what Zhou Siren's parents did. Once in Tang village, he had to follow his orders and work hard. Zhou Siren took days off constantly and didn't work properly when he did show up, instead hanging out with Lu Jinglan, causing trouble, and now bullying Nian Nian. This troublemaker needed to be sent to the farm. He couldn't stay in Tang village. Zhou Siren gritted his teeth. As a young master from the Zhou family, no one dared treat him this way in the capital, yet he was being bullied by a few ignorant villagers. If it weren't for the old man's orders to avoid alarming the enemy, he would have dealt with these bumpkins long ago. I will work hard. Zhou Siren swallowed his anger and promised. He hadn't yet obtained Tang Nian Nian's precious gourd and needed to stay in Tang village. Since Tang Nian Nian refused his advances, he wouldn't hold back anymore. Even if it took force, he would get that precious gourd. Tang Nian Nian shot him a cold glance. She was now almost certain that in her past life, the Zhou family's relentless pressure on the Tang family was due to the Tang family's treasure. The so-called guilty conscience. The Zhou family and Lu Jinglan stole something that didn't belong to them and were afraid of being found out, so they moved against the Tang family first. In this life, neither the Zhou family nor Lu Jinglan would survive. Zhou Siren shivered slightly. Just now, Tang Niannian's gaze was colder than ice, and for a moment, he thought she might kill him. He must have misjudged her. Tang Niannian was just a country girl. Even though she learned some martial arts from her hunter grandfather, her skills were limited. He lost this time because he underestimated her. Once he came up with a solid plan, he would definitely get the jade gourd. Zhou Siren was very confident. He planned to go into town to find He Jisheng. His grandfather said this person could be useful and had a lot of influence in the city, so he would surely help him. Bah! You look human, but your actions are worse than an animal. Tang Laotai spat at him and walked away angrily. Xian Jinju and Su Jinfeng also spat at him and glared before quickly catching up with Tang Laotai. The 3 of them headed to the sock factory together. They still had to go to work to earn money. Zhou Siren's face darkened. He felt humiliated, but he endured it. Ugh! His face burned with pain. Zhou Siren lost all interest in Tang Niannian. He couldn't handle a fierce woman like her, no matter how pretty she was. He needed to get the jade gourd quickly. He didn't want to stay in this awful place for another second. Zhou Siren lifted his foot to leave, but after just a few steps, he felt a sharp pain at the back of his head. He pressed his hand against it, and soon, thick blood oozed out between his fingers. Who? Zhou Siren shouted angrily, furious that someone dared to ambush him. Who was the audacious fool? Fuming, Zhou Siren called out for a long time, but didn't see the attacker. The villagers working in the fields knew what happened, but they certainly wouldn't say anything. They knew how to keep things separate. Tang Jiojin smugly snorted, hid his slingshot in his clothes, and swaggered away. Zhou Siren went to the barefoot doctor to bandage his wound, but the doctor's rough treatment almost made him faint. The barefoot doctor grabbed a handful of ashes from the stove and pressed it onto his wound. Zhou Siren was so scared, he quickly dodged. If such dirty stuff got on his wound, it would definitely get infected, and he might not survive. Don't you have any hemostatic medicine? Zhou Siren's tone was not good. After suffering setbacks, his already limited patience was wearing thin. This is it. The barefoot doctor was also in a bad mood. This was how he stopped bleeding, and it worked well. He couldn't cater to the pampered young master in the city. I'm going to the health clinic. Zhou Siren was so angry, he stood up to leave. Darn it, everyone was bullying him. Once he got the jade gourd, he would definitely show these country folks what he was made of. The barefoot doctor didn't even look at him and shoved the ashes back into the stove. Zhou Siren, with a throbbing head, gritted his teeth, and walked toward the commune. After walking for over 10 miles, he was nearly exhausted. Once he treated his wound, he would have to walk back the same distance. After all this trouble, the pampered Zhou Siren finally couldn't hold on any longer and collapsed on the bed, falling into a feverish sleep, but no one cared for him. Back at Tang Mianyan's place, she rode her bike to the farm. From a distance, she saw the swirling yellow dust, with people busy in the deep pit. She stood above, surveying the scene, and spotted Tang Wujin, He Guoqing, and Lu Jinglan. He Guoqing was helping Lu Jinglan with her work.
Tang Miani an samai.
She wasn't disappointed. Lu Jinglan was assigned to move dirt, quickly shoveling it into a basket, which men would then carry away. Although this work wasn't as tiring as shoveling dirt, it was still hard. And the pace had to be fast. If she fell behind, she would get scolded. This must be called a basket, right? After working all day yesterday, Lu Jinglan's hands were covered in blisters, and today they were rubbed raw, burning with pain. Just now, a rough man had scolded her, and she was both angry and hurt, crying while working. He Guoqing, who had been watching, felt heartbroken. How could his goddess do such hard labor? Without hesitation, He Guoqing walked over to Lu Jinglan, took the shovel from her, and helped her with the work. Though he was weak, he was still a bit stronger than Lu Jinglan. Lu Jinglan was taken aback, but quickly recognized him and smiled gratefully, tears still clinging to her eyelashes, looking pitiful and endearing, making He Guoqing feel an overwhelming tenderness. Even if it meant dying for Lu Jinglan, he would willingly do it. "Why are you here too?" He Guoqing asked softly.
Tang Miani an. She.
Lu Jinglan only managed to say half a sentence before tears streamed down her face, full of grievance. He Guoqing felt a surge of anger. That Tang Mianyan. "Don't worry, I'll help you." He Guoqing was secretly delighted. In the past, Lu Jinglan had been so high above him, but now they were both at the farm. Lu Jinglan definitely needed his help, and as time went on, they would surely end up together. As for the newlywed Tang Wujin, He Guoqing had long forgotten about her. "Guoqing, you're so nice." Lu Jinglan's shy and grateful expression made He Guoqing feel like he was floating, and he worked much faster. Tang Wujin had no idea that Lu Jinglan had been moving dirt all along, thinking that He Guoqing was resting at home. Tang Mianyan slid down the slope and approached Tang Wujin. In less than a month, Tang Wujin had aged quite a bit, looking thinner and darker, resembling Su Jinfeng's sister. Eating sweet potato porridge with pickles every day and working like a cow, even a deity couldn't endure it. "What are you doing here?" Tang Wujin asked sharply, glaring at Tang Mianyan as she tried to walk past her. Even though she was struggling now, Guoqing said the family was working on a solution, and she would soon return to Beijing and get a proper job. She was sure she would have a better life than Tang Mianyan. This thought had been her only support during this time. She believed in He Guoqing. "I came to see your misfortune. Eating pickles and porridge every day, working like a cow. How comfortable is that?" Tang Mianyan had no sympathy for this woman. She was genuinely there to enjoy the show and stir the pot. "My business is none of your concern." Tang Wujin gritted her teeth, constantly convincing herself that the hardship was only temporary. If she could just hold on a little longer, she would soon return to a good life in the city. "I don't care about you. I just don't understand one thing. You and that little glasses guy are married, yet he's still so considerate toward Lu Jinglan." Tang Mianyan smiled sweetly, pointing toward He Guoqing. Tang Wujin turned her head and saw a scene that shattered her heart. He Guoqing, who always claimed to be unwell, was now working like a bull, occasionally looking up and smiling gently at Lu Jinglan with a warmth and affection he had never shown her. Lu Jinglan must have seduced Guoqing. Tang Wujin instinctively tried to defend He Guoqing, blaming everything on Lu Jinglan. She threw down her load and marched toward He Guoqing, her fists clenched tightly. Tang Mianyan eagerly followed, thrilled to watch the dogs fight. "Jinglan, you rest over there. I'll handle this." He Guoqing carried several loads of dirt, his palms quickly forming blisters, and his back ached. Yet, he forced a gentle smile and spoke softly to Lu Jinglan. Guoqing, I'm so grateful to have you here. At that moment, Lu Jinglan felt a genuine appreciation for He Guoqing, and when she called his name, it was filled with warmth. He Guoqing felt a rush of emotions from her calling him Guoqing. It was the first time she had addressed him that way. You've lost weight. I'll bring you some eggs later. Dazed, He Guoqing completely forgot he was a married man and that his family was struggling to eat. Generously, he offered the few valuable eggs from home to the woman he cared for. Tang Wujin, who had rushed over, overheard this and exploded with anger. Those eggs were bought with the last of her money from the farm, only 10 in total, meant to nourish He Guoqing. She couldn't even bear to eat one herself. That despicable Lu Jinglan was worse than a shameless woman. At this point, Tang Wujin still chose to blame Lu Jinglan entirely. I'll teach you a lesson, you shameless girl. How dare you flirt with my man? Tang Wujin marched over, grabbing Lu Jinglan's hair and slapping her several times. Lu Jinglan was stunned and didn't react at first, her head buzzing as she vaguely saw an old, ugly woman. Old lady, why are you hitting me? I don't even know your man. Lu Jinglan spoke defiantly. This old lady must have an old husband. No matter how down on her luck she was, she would never accept the advances of an old man. Ha ha ha, Tang Wujin, she called you old lady. You're the same age, and she's only 2 months older than you. A clear, bright laugh rang out, cutting through the dust. Everyone working stopped to watch. Tang Nian stood on a slope, looking down at the scene, casually munching on a bag of spiced melon seeds. Help yourselves, don't be shy. Tang Nian generously shared with the onlookers, enjoying the chaos. Miss, you must be Tang Wujin's sister, right? The crowd, impressed by Tang Nian's beauty, found her charming. Tang Nian spat out a seed and replied cheerfully, Tang Wujin isn't my family anymore. The commune has severed ties. The crowd wasn't surprised. Having a daughter like Tang Wujin was a disaster, and cutting ties was the best solution to avoid dragging the whole family down. Now, Tang Wujin had become a notorious example. If you act like Tang Wujin, I'd rather knock you out. Parents often say this to their daughters. Tang Wujin, enraged by Tang Nian's words, lost her mind and pushed Lu Jinglan to the ground, climbing on top and slapping her. You shameless girl, who are you calling old lady? You think you're so pretty? Let me see how beautiful you really are. After just a month on the farm, Tang Wujin had turned into a crude woman, her mouth full of foul language and her strength astonishing. Lu Jinglan was like a helpless chick under her, unable to fight back. Her delicate face was quickly bruised and unrecognizable. Tang Wujin, stop. Let go of Jinglan. He Guoqing rushed over, trying to save the woman he cared for. Tang Wujin hesitated for a moment. He Guoqing had a strong influence on her. Hearing his voice made her instinctively obey. He Guoqing is already married to you. Call her by her name, it's Jinglan. Who are you to him? Tang Nian stirred the pot, and the worksite fell silent as everyone gathered around to listen. Tang Wujin, now resolute, pushed He Guoqing away, sending him tumbling. She remembered that since coming to the farm, He Guoqing had never called her by her name, always using their full names. Without Lu Jinglan as a comparison, she hadn't noticed before, but now she realized He Guoqing didn't want to call her Tang Wujin. You little girl, I'll tear you apart. Tang Wujin was filled with hatred for Lu Jinglan and attacked mercilessly. The sound of tearing fabric filled the air as pieces of cloth flew around. Let me go, Guoqing, save me. Lu Jinglan was terrified, clutching her body tightly. She couldn't let this continue. She still wanted to marry Zhou Siren. If her reputation was ruined, she would lose her chance. Tang Wujin, stop. Let's talk this out. He Guoqing stumbled over, but a stone suddenly hit his knee. Ah! He Guoqing fell face first, unable to get up for a while. Tang Nian calmly withdrew her hand, continuing to watch the spectacle. Tang Wujin had gone wild, tearing at the weak Lu Jinglan like a beast. You love to be shameless? I'll give you what you want. Tang Wujin's dark, thin face twisted with rage, her eyes wild. Lu Jinglan curled up in fear, wishing she could hide in the dirt, but she couldn't move, terrified of exposing herself. Her skin is so fair. City women are so delicate. This woman is committing a crime, isn't she? She really is a jerk. A group of men spoke lewdly, their eyes filled with love, some even moving closer for a better view. Don't look, help me. Lu Jinglan felt their lewd gazes and was terrified, her trembling body exposed like a lamb among wolves. Helpless and pitiful. But Tang Nian felt no sympathy for her. She was thoroughly entertained. Today, Tang Wujin had impressed her. Well done. But no reward. How dare you flirt with my man? I'll tear you apart. Tang Wujin felt a rush of satisfaction, but seeing Lu Jinglan's fair skin made her angry again. A month ago, she had been just as fair, but now this shameless woman was calling her aunt. Furious, Tang Wujin grabbed Lu Jinglan's arms and legs, preventing her from curling up. She wanted He Guoqing to see just how low the woman he liked could be. Lu Jinglan was completely exposed to everyone. The men closed in, some even getting too close for comfort. Let go of me. Help. Someone. Lu Jinglan cried out, but no one felt sorry for her. This was a farm, filled with people who had come for reform. No one had extra sympathy. Tang Wujin, let Jinglan go, or I'll divorce you. He Guoqing finally got up, pushing through the crowd. When he saw his beloved, crying like a lamb under Tang Wujin's grip, he felt dizzy and nearly vomited blood. The goddess he had cared for was now lying in the dirt, touched by these filthy men. He felt as if a celestial being had fallen into the mud, covered in grime, losing all her grace. Although He Guoqing's feelings were complicated, Lu Jinglan was still the woman he admired, and without thinking, he threatened divorce. Tang Nian didn't fan the flames this time. With Lu Jinglan in such a state, she feared for her life if she did. She wanted to watch the drama unfold a little longer. What are you all doing here? Get back to work. The site manager approached, a burly man in his 40s with a fierce look. His name was Zhou, but everyone called him Zhou the Skinner. Zhou was not only greedy for money but also for women, willing to take advantage of anyone. The crowd dispersed quickly. Without the crowd, Lu Jinglan was left exposed in the sunlight. Zhou's eyes lit up when he saw her. Get back to work. If there's any more fighting, don't blame me for being harsh. Zhou pretended to scold everyone, not even glancing at Tang Wujin, who was too plain for his interest. When Lu Jinglan first arrived, he hadn't been impressed by her looks, but he hadn't realized she had a great figure and charm. Lu, get up. I'll take you back to rest. Zhou helped Lu Jinglan up and wrapped his arm around her. She felt both ashamed and angry but didn't dare resist, crying as she was taken back to her quarters. He Guoqing wanted to save her but was too afraid to confront Zhou, helplessly watching as Zhou took her away. Tang Wujin looked at him with deep affection, saying softly, Guoqing, go rest. I'll make you scrambled eggs tonight. He Guoqing glared at her, wanting to yell but feeling guilty. In the end, he just huffed and walked away. Tang Wujin didn't care, picking up her load and continuing to work hard. After enjoying the show, Tang Nian thought about going to check on Lu Jinglan. Zhou didn't seem like a good person. She needed to take a look. Lu Jinglan was easy to find, as she was shouting, Don't do this. Please let me go. Stop pretending to be a virtuous woman. Just submit to me, and I'll protect you. Zhou didn't care that it was broad daylight. This area was under his control, and no one dared to speak up. He was like a local emperor. Tang Nian crouched down to eavesdrop. Although she despised bullying women, Lu Jinglan was the exception. The more Zhou bullied her, the happier she felt. Tang Nian remained calm, even standing up to stretch her legs after squatting for a while. She spotted He Guoqing nearby, looking distressed, pulling at his hair and holding his head like a madman, yet he still didn't have the courage to rush in and save Lu Jinglan. An hour passed. Zhou, satisfied, adjusted his pants and joked with a tear-streaked Lu Jinglan on the bed, You won't have to work for a few days. I'll bring you food tonight. Though Lu Jinglan wasn't much to look at, her body was impressive, better than any woman he had been with before. Lu Jinglan lay still, every part of her aching, reminding her of what had just happened. Her purity was gone, taken by such a crude old man. How could she ever marry Zhou Sire now? The door to the shack opened. Zhou left, and then it closed again. After a while, it opened again, and He Guoqing entered. Seeing Lu Jinglan naked, he quickly turned his head, unable to look. Lu Jinglan realized what had happened and hurriedly pulled the blanket over herself. She quickly analyzed in her mind that she couldn't give up. There had to be a way out. Guoqing, I don't want to live anymore. Lu Jinglan cried, looking hopeless. He Guoqing rushed to hold her, softly comforting her. It's not your fault. It's Zhou who did this to you. Finally holding his beloved so closely made He Guoqing feel dizzy, and he instinctively held her tighter. After listening to the drama, Tang Nian was about to leave, but was drawn back by the sounds from inside.
Wow.
Guoqing, don't do this. I'm not that kind of person. Jinglan, please give yourself to me. You've already given yourself to Zhou. Just give me a chance. I've liked you for so long. I'll do whatever you say. Tang Nian's eyes widened in shock, feeling deep admiration for Lu Jinglan. She now doubted whether Lu Jinglan had truly been innocent with those men in her past life. It was very possible that Zhou Siren was completely unaware of her past. But right now, it was Tang Wujin who was in the dark. After hearing another shocking scene, Tang Nian left 10 minutes later, feeling disappointed with He Guoqing. He was nowhere near as good as Zhou. She gave He Guoqing a bad review and lost interest in listening to the couple's antics, striding away. As for Lu Jinglan, let her live a few more days. The coming days wouldn't be easy for her. Returning to the village just in time for lunch, made by Su Jinfeng and Xian Jinju. Yin Xiu, that shameless one, hid 3 pairs of socks in her pocket. My eyes are sharper than an eagle's. I caught her red-handed. Old Lady Tang excitedly recounted her morning's achievements, claiming to have caught a big fish. What did Uncle San decide? Tang Nian asked. She wasn't surprised by this kind of thing. In a big village, there are all sorts of people, including thieves. Your Uncle San said he wants to hear your opinion. He'll come find you soon.
Tang Lao Tai's gop.
If she were the factory manager, she would definitely fire the thief. You can't keep a thief in the factory. It's like leaving a rat in a rice bin. But the village leader, considering their shared village ties, wanted to give Yin Xiu another chance. However, he didn't want to make the decision without consulting Tang Nian first. Just then, the village leader approached with a worried look. When he saw Tang Nian, his eyes lit up, as if he found hope. He never thought managing a factory would be so stressful, much more than managing the villagers. Nian girl, you finally came back. The village leader hurried over, pulling Tang Jiujin, who was eating, aside and sitting down himself. Jiujin almost choked on a piece of meat, glaring at the village leader but quietly moving to the side. Su Jinfeng got up to fetch a bowl of rice and placed it in front of the village leader. The village leader had something on his mind, and even if he were offered dragon meat, he couldn't eat. Nian girl, here's the situation. Uncle San, I know about the stolen socks. Let's eat first, and we can talk after. Tang Nian interrupted the village leader. She didn't like discussing serious matters during meals, and she thought this was a minor issue. The village leader wasn't fit to be a factory manager. She needed to go to the city to see her younger cousin, Tang Jianshu, who she remembered as bold and capable and had a good relationship with her uncle, Tang Man Tong. In her past life, Tang Jianshu started his own business and became a wealthy man. But now, he was still a temporary worker at the tractor factory. The village leader fell silent, picking up his bowl to eat. After finishing, he eagerly looked at Tang Nian. Before he could speak, she said, "There's no room for sympathy in this matter. Just fire her and post a notice for the whole village. We must set an example. After all, she's from our village. Can't we give her another chance?" The village leader asked quietly. "Uncle San, The factory rules are posted at the entrance. Everyone was informed that anyone caught stealing factory property would be fired, no exceptions. Even if the thief is Sister Hong Xing or my mom, they must be fired. Tang Nian was getting impatient, even using Su Jinfeng and Tang Hong Xing as examples. Su Jinfeng was startled and quickly said, I didn't take anything. I just had a thread on my clothes, and I put it back. She wasn't foolish. She knew the difference between a full meal and a little food. Hong Xing wouldn't do such a thing. If she did, I'd break her legs. The village leader quickly agreed. Although his daughter wasn't very bright, she would never steal. I'm just using examples. Why are you so anxious? This matter is non-negotiable. Uncle San, your indecisiveness won't work. Being a factory manager is like being a general. You need to be tough and fair. If you show leniency, how can you manage the factory? Tang Nian spoke firmly, giving the village leader a lesson. The village leader lowered his head, feeling ashamed. He knew she was right. He needed to change. But I can't be tough. When they cry, I can't bear it. The village leader expressed his helplessness. They were all neighbors. How could he be harsh? If it were the Japanese invaders, he could be ruthless, without hesitation. I understand it's tough for you. Tang Nian sympathized with the village leader. His personality affected his decisiveness. He wasn't naturally strong-willed. Just treat In Xiao like an invader. Look at you. I could do a better job as factory manager. Tang Lao Tai couldn't hold back, thinking she would be a better fit for the role since she wouldn't hesitate to deal with a thief. Auntie, don't complicate things. In Xiao and the invaders are not the same. The village leader replied irritably. In Xiao was a family member who made a mistake, while the invaders were enemies. Uncle San, we must fire Zhang In Xiao and announce it to the village to set an example. Tang Nian's tone left no room for refusal. This was non-negotiable. The village leader nodded, sighing again. Tang Nian continued, let Sengo come back. He would be a good fit as the factory manager. He can assist you, and then take over. The village leader hesitated. Can Jian Shu handle it? Why not? I think Jian Shu is better than you.
Tang Lao Tai zoom pet in.
Among the 4 siblings, she liked the third brother, Tang Jianshu, the most. When Tang Jianshu was born, the village leader's wife was unwell, and his mother had passed away early. Tang Lao Tai raised Jianshu until he was 3 before sending him back. Tang Jianshu was close to her and treated her like a real grandmother. The village leader's face darkened, feeling frustrated, but not daring to argue with Tang Lao Tai. Even though his youngest son was excellent, he didn't think he was that bad either. However, the village leader realized that bringing his son back would be a good idea. He knew his limits. He could handle being the village leader, but managing a factory was beyond him. I'll call Jian Shu and ask him to come back. The village leader agreed. Working as a temporary worker at the tractor factory, he didn't know when he would be made permanent. It was better for him to return to manage the sock factory, where he could stay at home and see his family every day. Although the village leader was soft-hearted, he was obedient and had strong execution. After taking Tang Nian's advice, he dealt with Zhang Yinxiu that afternoon and posted the dismissal notice at the factory gate. Villagers gathered around the notice to read it aloud. Comrade Zhang Yinxiu stole 3 pairs of socks during work hours, intending to take them home for personal use. She has admitted to this. After discussion, it has been decided to dismiss Comrade Zhang Yinxiu. This is hereby announced. Someone read it loudly. The villagers erupted in chatter, discussing among themselves. Who is Zhang Yinxiu? Is there someone by that name in the village? That's Tang Shirlin's wife. Oh, it's Shirlin's wife. She was so proud when she started working at the sock factory. Now look at her. She's lost everything. Now that Zhang Yinxiu is fired, does that mean there's an open position? Someone pointed out the opportunity, raising their voice. The air suddenly went quiet, and the crowd exchanged glances before dispersing, each heading home. With a position open, they needed to seize this opportunity. Zhang Yinxiu left the sock factory in tears, but the factory didn't shortchange her. She received her pay for 10 days of work, totaling 11 yuan and 26 cents, not a cent less. The villagers were thrilled. With that much money for just 10 days of work, if she worked a full month, wouldn't it be over 30 yuan?
Wow.
They felt like they struck gold. The villagers of Tang Village looked down on Zhang Yinxiu. She was foolish enough to throw away a big opportunity for a small gain. That night, Zhang Yinxiu's mother-in-law took a basket of eggs to plead with the team leader, but he refused to accept them. He said that after the sock factory expanded, Zhang Yinxiu could have another chance. If she made another mistake, she would never be hired again. Disappointed, Zhang Yinxiu's mother-in-law returned home and scolded her daughter-in-law fiercely. After all the effort to secure a good job, this foolish woman had ruined it. Luckily, there was still one more chance. In the future, she would have to supervise her closely and ensure she didn't bring anything back. The incident of the dismissal had a big impact in Tang Village. The workers of the sock factory became more serious about their jobs. Even when they finished work, they would voluntarily go to Old Lady Tang to have their work checked. They weren't foolish. Earning 30 to 40 yuan a month was better than any job in the county. Why would they throw away a good opportunity for a few yuan from socks? Zhang Yinxiu's position was eventually taken by the daughter-in-law of an outsider family. This family was honest and well-regarded in the village. The new worker was quick and quiet, and Tang Nianyan preferred such diligent employees. By mid-May, Tang Nianyan had given work to both Hongxing and Qianjin, and the training for Tang Zhengwo and his group was going well. The chief family had been quiet in the village, and Tang Nianyan kept an eye on them. She even visited the farm. She was shocked by Lu Jinglan's change. Once reserved and dignified, Lu now had a more worldly air about her. Her skin had lightened, and she no longer worked, spending her days resting in the shed. After inquiring, Tang Nianyan learned that Lu Jinglan was now the exclusive lover of Zhou Baopi. With his support, her life was more comfortable than at the youth station, and He Guoqing often visited her.
Wow.
No wonder she was a woman who could maintain a harem. Her methods were extraordinary. Tang Nianyan couldn't stand to see Lu Jinglan living so well. She wanted to dismantle this woman's harem. While watching at the farm, she spotted He Guoqing sneaking in, pushing open Lu Jinglan's room door, and slipping inside. At that hour, everyone at the farm was working, so no one saw their actions, not even Zhou Baopi. Tang Nianyan rushed to the construction site, found Tang Wujin and Zhou Baopi working, and handed them each a note with the same message: Lu Jinglan and He Guoqing are having an affair. Tang Wujin and Zhou Baopi's expressions changed dramatically as they rushed toward the shed, and Tang Nianyan quickly followed. This was quite the spectacle. "You shameless woman! Haven't I treated you well enough? How dare you meet this pretty boy behind my back? He Guoqing, do you even care about me?" The shouts and sounds of fighting and pleading from Zhou Baopi and Tang Wujin intertwined, creating a strangely pleasing noise. Tang Nianyan smiled, took out a handful of sunflower seeds from her pocket, and started snacking. After finishing the seeds, she clapped her hands and walked away. She would come back in a few days and enjoy another meal. Back in Tang Village, Bai Sui ran over to report, "Wang, the crippled one has gone to the city." Tang Nianyan frowned. She had forgotten about Qi Guohua since he hadn't made any moves recently. And Qi Guochun in the city should be hanging by a thread, right? In the evening, Qi Guohua and his son returned, dragging a cart. Lying on it was Qi Guochun, barely recognizable, covered with a thin blanket that only revealed her face, which was as thin as a skeleton. Qi Guochun's dull, gray eyes showed a flicker of life. She had finally left that hellish place. The air outside felt sweet. But she was dying. Neither Qi Guohua nor his son spoke, their bodies radiating despair. They moved slowly, afraid of being seen and questioned. Even as night fell, many people gathered at the village entrance to chat, and Qi Guohua and his son couldn't avoid them. "What's on the cart?" someone asked curiously. "Probably grain." Everyone assumed it was grain and gathered around to ask where it was bought. But when they saw the ghostly figure of Qi Guochun on the cart, they all stepped back in fright, more scared than if they had seen a ghost in broad daylight. "Is that Guochun?" Finally, someone recognized her. Everyone was shocked, unable to believe their eyes. Some brave souls approached and, upon seeing her face, confirmed it was indeed Chi Guochun, despite her ghastly appearance. Oh my, how did Guochun end up like this? What illness does she have? Where's her husband? Why isn't he taking care of her? People murmured questions, but no one took pleasure in her suffering. After all, Chi Guochun looked like she was on the brink of death. No one would kick a dying person when they were down. She's sick. Guochun wants to come home for a few days, Chi's father stammered, not daring to mention how He Jisheng had long since stopped caring about her. After they left, He Jisheng only told them to bring her home and gave them 100 yuan. His daughter had been tortured to the point of being unrecognizable, and he only gave her 100 yuan. Chi's father regretted listening to his son. If he had betrothed Guochun to someone from the mountains, they could have received 100 yuan as a bride price, and Guochun would still be alive and well. Let's hurry home and make something good for Guochun, the villagers said, unable to bear the sight of her. She looked like a drug addict from before liberation, which was unsettling. Once the Chi family was far away, the villagers began to discuss.
Did you see?
Guochun's hands are all injured. I just saw that. She must have been beaten by a man. I saw that too. She has injuries on her face and neck. Guochun was healthy. She was married for less than a month. How could she be sick? She was beaten by her husband. You might not know, but I heard from relatives in the county that director, he is a terrible person who has harmed many women. Guochun didn't marry. She was sent to please director, he by Chi Guohua to try and get a job. Oh my, could Chi Guohua really do that? Guochun is his own sister. What wouldn't that kind of person do? Chi Guohua lost his sister and didn't even get a job. What a pity for Guochun. She would have been better off marrying Tang Laolu. The villagers felt sympathy for Chi Guochun, stuck with such a cruel brother and parents. Her fate was unfortunate. At that moment, the Chi family was engulfed in sorrow. Seeing their daughter in such a terrible state, Chi's mother cried and blamed her son. I shouldn't have listened to you. You knew He Jisheng was worse than a beast. How could you send Guochun to him? Now you didn't get the job, and Guochun has become like this. Can you live with yourself? Chi's mother truly regretted it and felt particularly cold inside. Her son would send his own sister to be tortured by that beast for a job that didn't even materialize. If there were any other benefits in the future, would he be willing to sacrifice her life? The more Chi's mother thought about it, the colder she felt, and she even became afraid. Her husband and son were unreliable. What would she do in the future? Chi Guohua remained silent, his face dark. He was thinking about He Jisheng's words. If you want a job, bring me that girl. I know she's from your village and your former fiancé. If you bring her to me, you can choose any job in Jucheng. I keep my word. He Jisheng handed him a photo, which was of the beautiful Tang Nian Nian. He was trying to use Tang Nian Nian to trade for a job. He argued with this jerk, hoping that, considering his sister was dying, he could get a job. But this jerk said, "Your sister is only young. If I take her, it's because I think highly of her. With her kind, if you hadn't brought her to me, I wouldn't even look at her." He Jisheng's arrogant and ugly face made Chi Guohua feel sick. He wanted to kill this beast, but he didn't dare. He didn't have the ability to kill He Jisheng. Back in his room, Chi Guohua took out the photo from his pocket, the one He Jisheng had given him. His fingers tightened around the photo, and his eyes grew increasingly wild. If one doesn't care for oneself, heaven will punish them. He had to become a formal worker and stand out. Since Chi Guochun returned, she hadn't shown her face again, staying in her room to recover. When villagers came to visit, they were frightened by her ghostly appearance. There aren't many days left to live. It's truly a tragedy. Everyone said this, feeling sympathy for Chi Guochun. On the third day after her return, she sent someone to deliver a message to Tang Nian Nian. Guochun wants to see you. Not seeing her, it's bad luck. Tang Nian Nian firmly refused. Even if she was dying, she didn't want to see her. It was so annoying. Get out, get out. Don't come to my house with that family's troubles. If you don't mind the bad luck, I do. Old Lady Tang came out with a dark face, waving a broom to shoo them away. Even if someone was about to die, they still couldn't be at peace. She was sure her granddaughter had bad intentions. On the fourth day after Chi Guochun returned, a major incident occurred in the Chi family. That morning, while everyone in the village was working and the sock factory was bustling, the Chi family didn't come out, and their door remained tightly shut. Even at lunchtime, there was still no movement from them. Only then did the villagers realize something was wrong. Even if they didn't want to work, they still had to cook lunch, right? The Chi family's chimney showed no signs of smoke, clearly indicating that lunch hadn't been prepared. Moreover, the Chi family was eerily silent, which felt very wrong. Someone went to inform the team leader, who gathered a few people and broke down the Chi family's door. Upon entering, they were shocked. The Chi family members were sprawled on the floor. Chi father and mother had blood around their mouths. Their expressions were painful, and their eyes showed disbelief. Chi Guochun was also lying on the ground, blood at the corner of her mouth, but she was smiling. The team leader checked their breaths one by one, his face turning pale. They were all dead. In the room, there was still Chi Guohua, barely alive. There's still breath. Hurry, and get some dung. The team leader checked Chi Guohua's nose and shouted in surprise. If the whole family was dead, how would he report to the commune? Coming, clear the way. Someone rushed over with a spoonful of dung. According to old traditions, giving dung juice to poison people was the best way to save them. They pried open Chi Guohua's mouth and poured the dung juice inside.
Ugh.
Chi Guohua finally reacted, vomiting everything out. The room was filled with a terrible stench, and the others couldn't stay, covering their noses as they left. What happened to the Chi family? Some people rushed over to see what was going on. The Chi family was poisoned and wiped out. Only Chi Guohua is still alive. The team leader is giving him dung juice to save him. My goodness, who is so wicked? This villain must be caught. The police need to investigate. Yang Hongling is really lucky, escaping a disaster at the farm. The villagers were all frightened. It's easy to dodge an open attack, but hard to guard against a hidden arrow. With such a vicious person hiding in the village, no one could feel safe. How's it going? What happened? A few people carried out a door plank with Chi Guohua, who was covered in dung and vomit, smelling terrible. He needs to go to the health station. Hurry, and bring water to wash him off. The team leader's face was grim. With such a major incident in the village, he would definitely face criticism. Once they caught the poisoner, he would definitely slap them a few times. Someone brought water and splashed it on Chi Guohua. After several buckets, he was much cleaner. The team leader, along with a few young men, took turns carrying the door plank to the health station. News of the Chi family's elimination quickly spread throughout the village, and the Tang family also learned of it. Old Lady Tang, holding a bowl of rice, went out to gather information for a few minutes and then rushed back excitedly. The Chi family is completely dead. Thank heaven, I hope Chi Guohua doesn't survive. The old lady showed no restraint in her happiness, even praying to the heavens to let Chi Guohua die. Who poisoned the Chi family? It's terrifying. Su Jinfeng also returned from outside, a bit panicked, fearing the poisoner might target her family next. Whoever poisoned them, we haven't done anything wrong, so why be afraid? Old Lady Tang was completely unbothered. She had never done anything shameful, so she wasn't afraid of ghosts coming at night. She added, the Chi family has done too many bad things to end up like this. Tang Nian asked some questions and learned that Chi Guohua was saved, which made her a bit regretful. That jerk was quite lucky. However, having a belly full of dung juice was still satisfying. The team leader did a great job. As for the poisoner, it was easy to guess. It had to be Chi Guochun. Only she could die with a smile, clearly finding death a relief. She also held a grudge against her family, having both the motive and the opportunity to poison them. Around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, the team leader returned with Wei Zhongcheng and his colleagues. The team leader called to report the case, and Wei Zhongcheng and his colleagues came to investigate. The Qi family's home remained untouched, and after Wei Zhongcheng inspected the area and smelled the leftover food on the table, he had a clear idea. The poisoner is Qi Guochun. She put oleander juice into last night's dishes. The deaths occurred last night, and Qi Guohua didn't eat much, so he narrowly escaped. Wei Zhongcheng had investigated cases for over 10 years. This kind of case was child's play for him, with no suspense at all. There was an oleander tree behind the Qi house. This plant is entirely toxic, and Qi Guochun could easily obtain oleander branches and leaves, squeeze out the juice, and mix it into the food. The Qi family wouldn't suspect her at all. Everyone knows oleander is poisonous, right? As for Yang Hongling, she truly was lucky. She went to the farm yesterday morning to borrow money from Lu Jinglan and didn't return at night, saving her life. With the case solved, the villagers in Tang Village felt relieved, glad there was no madman lurking around. In May, the temperatures were not low, and the bodies couldn't stay too long. The team leader took charge and arranged for the Qi family to be buried. Qi Guohua also returned from the health station, and the house was now cold and empty, with only him left. Yang Hongling had gone to the farm and had not been heard from since. Qi Guohua sat alone in the living room, without turning on the lights. It was dark, not because he didn't want to, but because he hadn't paid the electricity bill, and the power was cut off. Though it wasn't cold in May, he felt a chill in his home, especially on his back, as if it were pressed against ice, making him shiver uncontrollably. He went to the kitchen to find a heating stove, lit a fire, and the room became a bit brighter and warmer. Sitting by the stove, he curled up, his pale, gaunt face illuminated by the flickering flames, giving him a ghostly appearance. "You're not human. You sent me to that devil, He Jisheng. Do you know what I go through every day? He's not human at all. I can't go on living. If I die, you won't survive either, ha ha ha." Qi Guohua heard Qi Guochun's voice in his ears, causing him to shudder. He moved closer to the stove, clutching himself tighter, but then Qi Guochun's face appeared before him. It looked as thin as a ghost, twisted and contorted, laughing maniacally, vividly present before him. Qi Guohua trembled in fear and muttered, "Guochun, Mom and Dad are already dead because of you. You went to find He Jisheng. He's the one who harmed you." He tightly held his head, afraid to look up. After a long time, he slowly raised his head and, relieved, saw that Qi Guochun was gone. He added some firewood to the stove, feeling warmer and his mind clearer. He couldn't just sit and wait. There had to be a way. He could definitely make a comeback. Qi Guohua's dim eyes grew brighter. He hadn't reached a dead end. There was still hope. At first, he felt reluctant. But now that his family was ruined and he had suffered so much because of that wretched Tang Nian, he felt no more compassion. Besides, his home was now bare, with not a penny to spare and no rice left. He was weak and needed nutrition. If he didn't harden his heart, he would surely starve. Qi Guohua clenched his teeth, pulled out a photo of Tang Nian from his pocket, squeezed it tighter, and finally crumpled it into a ball and threw it into the stove, watching it turn to ashes in an instant. The Qi family had become a taboo in Tang Village. The villagers would rather take a longer route than pass by. The neighbor next door had moved back to their old home. They could tolerate dog waste, but not a massacre. It's eerie even in broad daylight. The sun is shining, but there's a chilling wind blowing. Oh, my bones feel frozen. That family died a violent death. The bad energy is strong. Shh, don't say such things. Superstitions are not good. The villagers whispered among themselves, and the Qi family became a place everyone disliked. Tang Nian had warned Baisho not to go near the Qi family. It wasn't that she felt sorry for Qi Guohua. She mainly worried that the dogs would pick up bad luck, which would be bad for their health. As for Qi Guohua, he was barely hanging on and wouldn't last long. That day, Grandma Tang was boiling urine eggs again. Last time, she boiled 100, but it wasn't enough to share in the village. So, she arranged for 2 buckets of urine from the school, asking Tang Manjin to bring them back. In the yard, she set up a large pot, added 100 eggs, poured in the 2 buckets of urine, and lit a strong fire to start boiling. The urine didn't cover the eggs when it started boiling. Once the urine boiled down, peeling them would reveal tea eggs, salty and delicious. Ha, there's proof. Don't say the author made it up. Tang Nian ran out when the pot was set up. She went to the farm to check on Tang Wujin and Lu Jinglan and the others. If these people were having a hard time, it would lift her spirits a bit. Tang Nian rode her bike slowly and spotted a limping Qi Guohua at the intersection, his thin frame so frail it seemed the wind could blow him over, struggling to walk. Why wasn't this guy resting at home? What was he doing in the city? Qi Guohua was heading to the city, dragging a leg behind him, clearly with something important to do. Tang Nian stopped her bike, glanced at him from a distance, and didn't pay much attention as she turned toward the farm road. Qi Guohua was going to find He Jisheng. He could have called, but he needed to get the key from the team leader. He wanted to give He Jisheng advice on how to get Tang Nian without the team leader overhearing. So, he decided to go to the city and tell He Jisheng in person. As for Yang Hongling, he had already given up hope. Lu Jinglan was struggling to survive. She had gone to the farm for a form, and Yang Hongling's parents were just ordinary workers, so he couldn't rely on them. He wanted to give He Jisheng advice on how to get Tang Nian without the team leader overhearing. So, he decided to go to the city and tell He Jisheng in person. As for Yang Hongling, he had already given up hope. Lu Jinglan was struggling to survive. She had gone to the farm for a form, and Yang Hongling's parents. In a quiet area, she stored her bike in her space and walked toward the dormitory area. It was around 1 in the afternoon, and the dormitory area was quiet. Many people were napping, while some women gathered at the faucet to wash clothes and gossip about farm news. Last night, old Zhu and he went to find that sold woman, right? That sold woman's cousin came. She's just as cheap, and you can hear her screaming from 10 miles away.
Ugh.
So shameless. The women showed disdain, scrubbing their clothes as if they were washing that sold woman's reputation. Tang Nian had sharp ears. Even from a distance, she could hear them clearly. The sold woman they were talking about was definitely Lu Jinglan. It seemed Lu Jinglan had completely given up and was letting her true nature show, dragging Yang Hongling down with her. TSK, what a pair of loving sisters. Did you see? Another man went in. They don't work all day, just do these shameless things. One woman spat angrily, as if the man looking for the sold woman was her own. The other women were also furious, not sure if they were mad at Lu Jinglan or those men. Tang Nian became interested and ran to the top of the shed, ready to eavesdrop openly. The door to Lu Jinglan's shed was slightly ajar, and a shifty-looking man entered, carrying a bag of egg cakes. I brought the egg cakes you asked for, sweetheart. I missed you so much. The man didn't notice Yang Hongling lying on the bed. Even if he did, he wouldn't care. The farm was a mix of people, mostly there for labor reform, and morals didn't exist. Lu Jinglan wore only a thin top, with buttons undone, her hair loose, her eyes alluring, and her lazy demeanor was captivating, making the man excited as he called her sweetheart repeatedly. Why the rush? Let me rest a bit. Lu Jinglan half-heartedly dealt with the man, smiling seductively, but her eyes were filled with disgust. She didn't want to live this way. She should have married Zhou Siren and become the envy of everyone as Mrs.
Zhou.
Instead, she was in this situation, where anyone could enter her room and share her bed. Lu Jinglan called Zhou Siren, but he didn't answer. She asked her cousin to come over to find out about Zhou Siren, only to learn that he had been beaten by Tang Nian. Moreover, Tang Nian had started a sock factory, raising her status in Tang Village. To curry favor with her, even the elderly and children bullied Zhou Siren. So, Zhou Siren was struggling to protect himself and couldn't help her at all. Lu Jinglan's previously firm belief suddenly collapsed. Why, after being reborn, could she still not defeat Tang Nian? If fate had decided she would lose to Tang Nian, why should she keep fighting? With her belief shattered, Lu Jinglan began to give up, accepting any man who came her way. Thanks to these men, she had not suffered much lately. In fact, she was living more comfortably than when she was at the youth station. Before long, sounds came from the shack. 15 minutes later, the man left. Jinglan, how did you end up like this? Yang Hongling's incredulous voice rang out. Recalling her nightmarish experiences over the past few days, her face turned pale as she bit her lip tightly. A few days ago, her cousin had called her to the farm, saying she needed to talk, and since she wanted to borrow money from Lu Jinglan, she came over. But that very night, she was bullied by a crude man. The man gave her $1 and said he would come back. For some reason, Yang Hongling stayed, and the next day, the man indeed returned and gave her more money. She wanted to go back to the Qi family, but she couldn't make up her mind. Going back meant enduring days of eating only boiled vegetables, while here she could eat well at every meal, enjoy snacks, and not have to work. Caught in a dilemma, Yang Hongling kept saying she wanted to leave, but her feet felt stuck. Lu Jinglan saw through her and mocked, "If you have ambition, don't take the money. You seem pretty happy with the money old Zhu gave you." I was forced. Yang Hongling's face changed dramatically as she stammered to defend herself. She was different from her cousin. Her cousin had given up on herself. She was forced. "I didn't tie you up. You can leave any time. Why don't you just go?" Lu Jinglan opened the door, pointing outside with scorn. Yang Hongling's expression changed several times. She wanted to retort, but didn't know what to say. She wanted to leave, but she couldn't bear to part with the money. Now, she regretted arguing with her cousin. Lu Jinglan looked at her with even more disdain, thinking how someone who had become a mistress still wanted to act innocent. She scoffed and closed the door, not mentioning leaving again. Yang Hongling sighed in relief and offered, "I'll go make dinner." They had gotten up too late and hadn't eaten breakfast. Lu Jinglan remained expressionless and silent, so Yang Hongling took it as agreement, quickly got out of bed, washed up, and went outside to cook noodles, frying 3 eggs, 1 for her and 2 for Lu Jinglan. All the food was brought by those men, making her life more comfortable than at the youth station. Lu Jinglan looked on with disdain. If it weren't for the fact that this fool was still somewhat useful, she would have kicked her out long ago. Having her around helped with chores and dealing with those disgusting men. Tang Wujin got up, lightly stamping her feet as they had gone numb from squatting. After checking on Lu Jinglan, she needed to see how Tang Wujin and the little glasses boy were doing. The door to Tang Wujin's shack was tightly shut, and she and He Guoqing were lying in bed. "Guoqing, my stomach hurts. Go get a cart to take me to the clinic." Tang Wujin's face was pale, and her forehead was covered in cold sweat. A few days ago, while moving dirt, her lower abdomen had started to ache, and there was blood on her underwear. She thought her period was coming and didn't pay much attention. But since last night, the pain had intensified, and she felt a heaviness that didn't seem like her period. Tang Wujin couldn't bear it any longer and decided to go to the clinic. She had just received her paycheck a few days ago, bought some necessities, and still had $15, which she hid in a box. He Guoqing lay still, like a corpse. Tang Wujin called out a few more times, and only then did he show some reaction, sounding very impatient. "Just hold on. The clinic is 10. She thought her period was coming and didn't pay much attention. But since last night, the pain had... Why did she think she was so important? He Guoqing turned over, facing away from Tang Wujin, and didn't say another word. Tang Wujin felt both angry and sad. Her once unwavering belief was now shaken. Had she really been wrong? No, she would definitely be happy. Guoqing was just too tired and spoke harshly. She should understand him. Tang Wujin firmly convinced herself again, her belief restored. She stopped calling He Guoqing, gritting her teeth against the pain as she slowly got up, taking over 10 minutes to do what was usually easy, sweating from the effort. He Guoqing lay on the bed like he was dead, not even opening his eyes, instead turning over to face the wall. Tang Wujin decided to go to the clinic herself. Her stomach hurt too much. She needed a doctor to prescribe some medicine. Struggling, she opened the box and reached for the cloth bag hidden underneath, which contained all her belongings and $15. She found the bag, but her hands trembled from the pain, and it took a lot of effort to open it, only to find the $15 missing. Tang Wujin panicked, forgetting her pain, and rummaged through the box, shaking out every piece of clothing multiple times, but still couldn't find the money. Where is the money? Where did it go? I packed it well. Tang Wujin was frantic, continuing to shake out clothes and search through them, but still found nothing. In her panic, she didn't notice He Guoqing on the bed, his expression shifting to one of guilt, his eyelids twitching. Guoqing, did you take the money from the box? Tang Wujin finally calmed down. She had packed it well that day and tied a knot. The bag showed no signs of being chewed by rats. Clearly, the money had been taken. The only other person in the house was He Guoqing. Tang Wujin gritted her teeth, already guessing where the $15 had gone. It must have been that shameless Lu Jinglan who spent it. Tang Wujin was burning with anger, her body shaking more violently from pain and frustration. She had worked hard for every penny, even being stingy about buying good toilet paper, yet now was being spent by Lu Jinglan. No wonder Lu Jinglan lived so well. She was spending Tang Wujin's money. He Guoqing remained still, as if he hadn't heard anything. Don't pretend to be deaf. Did you give Lu Jinglan that 15 yuan? Tang Wujin rushed to the bedside, pushing He Guoqing hard and shouting her questions. He Guoqing could no longer pretend to be indifferent. Annoyed, he yelled, "It's just 15 yuan. I took it, so what? Where did you spend the money? Why do you care where I spent it? Am I not the head of the household? Do I have to report to you every time I spend money?" He Guoqing's voice grew louder and more defiant. He felt a bit guilty at first, but now he was angry. It was just 15 yuan, and how dare a rural woman like Tang Wujin question him? Humph, she was too bold. We have no money left at home, and you spent it.
How are we going to get by?
Tang Wujin asked hoarsely, trying to endure her stomach pain. There were still 20 days until payday. They couldn't survive like this. He Guoqing felt a bit regretful. After being intimate with Lu Jinglan, she had tearfully told him she hadn't eaten meat in a long time. In a moment of weakness, he had gone home, taken the money, and given it all to Lu Jinglan to buy meat. I'll figure it out. Why are you yelling? He Guoqing said, stubbornly holding his ground. Go ask Lu Jinglan for the money back. Do it now. I need to see a doctor. Tang Wujin was in so much pain that she could barely stand. She leaned against a box, her back hunched, cold sweat pouring down her face, which was pale as a ghost. He Guoqing was startled. He hadn't expected Tang Wujin to be really sick. But he couldn't go ask for the money back. He felt too ashamed. I'll borrow some money. He Guoqing got out of bed, hastily dressed, and went out to find someone to lend him money. Ask Lu Jinglan for the 15 yuan back.
Go now.
Tang Wujin was determined to get that money back. She couldn't let that woman get away with it. He Guoqing ignored her and knocked on the neighbor's door. Tang Wujin, frustrated and anxious, pressed her stomach and headed towards Lu Jinglan's place. What are you doing? Tang Wujin, come back. He Guoqing hurried after her, trying to pull her back, but Tang Wujin glared at him with a fierce expression, making him stop in fear. He had always seen Tang Wujin as obedient, but now she looked completely different, and he felt intimidated. He watched as Tang Wujin walked step by step to Lu Jinglan's door and pushed it open.
Bang!
The door slammed against the wall, startling Lu Jinglan and Yang Hongling, who looked up at Tang Wujin. Give me back my money, 15 yuan. Tang Wujin pressed her stomach, her voice hoarse, and her condition clearly poor. Are you crazy? Who took your money? Lu Jinglan scoffed, refusing to admit it. She would never give back the money that had gone into her pocket. Give me back my money. Tang Wujin didn't have the strength to argue further. She stepped inside, smelling the aroma of egg noodles. On the table were 2 bags of noodles, a dozen eggs, and some egg cakes. All these things were definitely bought with her 15 yuan. Filled with jealousy and anger, Tang Wujin grabbed everything from the table and held it tightly. You're stealing from my house in broad daylight. Tang Wujin, are you out of your mind?
Put that down.
Lu Jinglan rushed forward to take back her things. Yang Hongling joined in to help, and with 2 against 1, along with Tang Wujin's poor health, she quickly found herself at a disadvantage. But she held on tightly, refusing to let go. Let go.
Ah!
Lu Jinglan screamed as Tang Wujin bit her hand, leaving a mark. Furious, Lu Jinglan pushed her hard, causing Tang Wujin to lose her balance and fall to the ground, dropping everything she was holding. Eggs shattered, yolks and whites spilling everywhere. Lu Jinglan was distraught, and without thinking, she slapped Tang Wujin several times, shouting, "You must be crazy. You come to my house to steal. No wonder He Guoqing looks down on you. With your looks and stupidity, he wouldn't like you even if he were blind. You think he married you because he likes you? He just wanted a free maid." She leaned down and whispered in Tang Wujin's ear, "He Guoqing said you're like a dead fish. He finds you disgusting. If it weren't for your ability to work like a cow, he wouldn't even look at you. That 15 yuan was given to me by He Guoqing. Whenever I mention wanting meat, he rushes to give me money." Lu Jinglan felt triumphant, mocking Tang Wujin, completely unaware of how dire Tang Wujin's situation had become.
Blood.
So much blood. Yang Hongling gasped, trembling as she pointed at Tang Wujin on the ground. A pool of blood was spreading beneath Tang Wujin, and her face grew paler. She rolled her eyes and fainted. Lu Jinglan was startled, cursing her bad luck.